From France.
We are live, ladies.
We are live.
All right.
Welcome to the Lads Podcast, the Slumdog Podcast. We are here with our very good friend, Stefan, also known as Stefanovic. Make sure to follow. We'll provide details at the end of the video. Well, we won't, but...
Yeah.
And
that's okay.
Maybe. We will. Maybe.
we'll see to it.
But
how you doing, Stefan?
I'm doing pretty great today. I'm feeling all right.
Nice.
Feel good. Feel nice. Sugar and spice. All that.
Hell yes. That's what we like to hear. What you been up to?
Honestly, just kind of working like 24/7, just trying to get the bills paid. Doing what I can in my spare time. Trying to practice and learn more of everything I try to do.
Just everything.
Everything in general. I got a free year-long subscription to Masterclass, and I'm trying to just take a bunch of them before it's out.
Seriously?
I've taken none so far. I've had it since
Let me get in on that shit. I'm trying to get into the directing.
I'll give you my login. I've been wanting to watch directing, cooking, acting, all that stuff. I started the Tom Morello guitar one, but that was as far as I got.
Who else would they have in guitar?
I think Santana.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd pay for that shit.
Yeah.
Santana's the GOAT.
God. And it's weird because it's not like exact lessons on how to It's Tom Morello explaining how he approaches playing guitar, so he gets his unique tone,
right,
and stuff. It's not being here's an exact recipe or here are tabs or here's a scale to practice. It's how to go about the creative process and find something that you're able to play that you like.
See, but that's a problem I have with it because I've heard some critiques on directing ones, for example, that they don't really show you how to direct or how to produce a movie. It's more like they're telling anecdotes, or they're talking about stuff that's not technical. So it's kind of I just paid to hear an interview from David Lynch or whatever.
It is weird with directors and musics and stuff because the musicians the mixology one that I'm taking. They'll tell you little things bitters and liqueurs are the seasonings to a cocktail, and that's an actual fact you can hold on to. Gordon Ramsay has one course where he focuses on how to cook a perfect Sunday egg because you get a lot of different talents in the cooking areas. I don't know why I keep touching where my nipple is. It's my shirt. I'm not just sitting here rubbing my nipple the whole time. But yeah. It's I feel like with directors and musicians, it's a bit harder because it's not. You can't claim for something to be a master class unless you teach an all-encompassing thing, the mastering.
Yeah.
So I think that's where people get confused. It's not just a guitar class; it's a guitar master class.
I definitely see that. I'm kind of on the fence with that because I want to buy it, I want to do it, but at the same time, it's is it really going to be worth the $100 whatever dollars it's worth?
It's $270 for a year long. I'll just give you my login.
Hey, I'm down for that. I'll hit you up.
But yeah,
I hear good things about Skillshare. I don't know.
Today's episode is sponsored by
Skillshare.
It is not.
And Raid Shadow Legends and shit.
What's the other one?
What's it called?
Reddit? No.
It's what's it called?
The sticker one. There's a sticker one, and there's
It's.
Hold up. HelloFresh. They're HelloFresh.
No. Dollar Shave Club.
Dollar Shave Club. That's what it is.
Manscaped. We need to get in on that shit.
Dollar Shave Club, Manscaped, Raid Shadow Legends.
Dollar Shave Club. If you're listening,
Raycon earbuds.
Raycon. Yeah,
I was thinking about buying some, but they said it starts at half the price of any other premium earbuds. Mm-hmm. But I look it up and it's $150. So I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, they're not wrong.
You're not wrong, but you're misleading, man.
Exactly.
I got a $15 pair from I almost said Black Walmart. Walmart on Black Friday. It's Walmart, but everything's goth. Everything's just every gothic. All the employees wear black vests and have their bangs down. And they're like, "Welcome to Black Mart. What can I get you?" And it's
Then it's I could use some help. Why?
Couldn't we all?
Don't we all?
Nihilism Walmart.
Nihilism Walmart. How much does this cost? Just fucking take it. Nothing matters, man.
But can you show me the Gerard Way? Haven't heard that one before. Good one.
Really funny. And original.
I'm glad you said that.
Welcome to Walmart, where nihilism is key, and life and the absurdity of life gives life its true meaning.
That's the opposite of nihilism.
Life has no inherent meaning. We need to give it our own. Will it be cash or credit?
Have you heard about our latest credit card offers?
There's none.
You can get 5. There's none. It would be cool if we had some, but like, we don't.
I would pay to go there.
To nihilistic Walmart.
The amount of money you can make off of things by making them like goth or like dark is fucking. It's an untapped market. Like,
yeah,
dude, I would spend so much money if there was like a goth Hooters.
Fuck,
like that's
dude.
the joke, right? Like
goth IHOP,
goth Hooters, Cat Girl, Chipotle.
What was there? There was like Art Ho Chili's or Art Ho Applebee's.
Art Ho Applebee's. And it's all we have is yerba mate and kombucha.
And occasionally a cappuccino with a little heart on top.
You have to ask the waitresses for consent before you order something.
Fucking God.
Oh man.
Milf Denny's is where it's at.
Milf Denny's.
Milf Denny's.
Dude, I can't even.
Okay, I can't
She
stop.
has like a smoker's voice and shit.
Sorry. I shouldn't be referencing this because it can't be seen on camera. That dude on the end of that poster, his arm gets cut off like halfway through.
Which one?
The dude with like spikes coming out of his head.
Hellraiser? Or which one?
The blue guy.
On the right?
Sorry.
In the middle?
On the right, in the middle on the right, behind the ring girl.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
His arm is
Hellraiser.
like kind of. His
No,
arm
it's
is.
not. Or it is. It
Yeah.
is like,
And it just looks like he has like a squid tentacle arm, and I'm just like, that doesn't look right.
Is that not part of the movie?
It might be.
No, I see his hand right there.
Yeah, that's his hand, isn't
It's on
it?
his collar. It's on that fool's collar.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll put a picture.
Yeah, he has like a
in post.
robe.
Okay,
He has like a
we're gonna have to
robe.
cut all this out.
No,
Nobody
I'll
knows what
put a
we're
picture
talking
in post.
Okay.
Damn it,
Fix it in
Stefan.
post.
What were we even talking about?
Just
Milf
degeneracy.
Denny's.
MILFs and goths and all sorts of Christian topics.
We're just being horny on the podcast.
God, dude, goth IHOP, MILF Denny's. Yeah.
And this is just like the Beach Boys say. This is how I get around. You know,
Like they say, wouldn't it be nice?
to like feel excitement in life again.
For anything. At all.
It takes so
It's like-
much effort to produce a smile.
It's like the Beach Boys say, yesterday all my troubles seemed so far away, but now looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe.
Also,
Those
we
are
are
the
on the
Stones.
beach.
Oh shit, those are the Stones. My bad. Brass Stones, huh? No, Rolling Stones, huh?
I like the Rolling Stones. I think they're better than the Beatles.
Are they the ones that sang
Where's
Paint It
your
Black?
goddamn mind?
I like Paint It Black.
I mean, the Beatles were okay, but like the Rolling Stones were just like
Then they had that weird period in the middle where they were just like...
well, they're doing like disco and all sorts of weird shit.
The Beatles?
No, the Rolling Stones.
Oh.
Beatles making
I was like,
this-
what the fuck are you talking
Oh
about?
yeah, shake your booty.
That's
It's
right.
a disco night tonight in the club.
Shake your groove thing.
Staying alive, staying alive. Ha, 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 ha. Staying alive, Paul.
No, I think disco is like my least favorite. Like right behind trap is disco for like my least favorite form of music. I just fucking hate it. It's
See, that's the thing though. Everybody says they hate disco, and rightfully so. But then you hear like, "Let's groove tonight." Brown, 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 brown.
I'm talking disco
Or
like the one I was talking about earlier that I can't remember now. What was that one I was talking about?
What are we talking
That
about?
song.
Which one?
The song that I was having the Beatles sing.
Staying Alive.
Staying Alive.
Yeah,
That's a good song.
That's
no,
a good
it's
song.
not. It's terrible.
That's a good song.
Dude,
You
I
don't think it
fucking hate
slaps?
No.
The bass on that slaps.
Okay, so like, what's the delineation between like disco and Motown? Like, because they're like.
Well, here's where
similar.
you're missing something, and that's funk.
That's, yeah.
It goes so it's
Disco,
like an
then
evolution. It
funk.
goes Motown, funk, and then disco. And I think funk isn't bad. I think they did a lot of good things with
Yeah.
funk. I'm not a
Funk
big
is
fan
like-
I can get down with Motown and
Funk-
funk, but not disco.
Funk is like any artist on the Fueled by Ramen, where it's like they're the link between the like underground indie shit and like the popular stuff is like the front bottoms.
What are you saying?
Fueled by Ramen, the
Fueled by Ramen, that label,
The
all the
record
bands
label.
on
I don't
that
know what
label,
you're
they're like the link between, they're like somewhere in the middle between like underground indie, or not underground indie, but like ones that the meme pages make fun of, like bands that meme pages make fun of, and pop, and not pop, but like Mac DeMarco, Billie Eilish, like popular alternative.
Yeah, pop, yes.
The middle ground, yeah, it is pop.
funk is like the middle ground.
Funk is like the middle ground in that like trilogy.
Funk
I went way
I
off.
don't know what
No,
you're saying.
I get it though. Funk
Leah
is like
gets
the
it.
Fueled by Ramen artist. It's like the middle ground.
It's the
buffer.
bridge
Oh,
between the
okay,
two.
I see what you're saying
Yeah.
now. I see what you're saying now. Yeah, but I mean, funk is alright. I mean, there were some great artists that fell into funk, Motown and stuff, like Stevie Wonder and fuck, who else? There was a few others.
Sorry.
The Temptations.
The Temptations weren't funk. They were like
No? Or no, not the Temptations. Fuck, the Commodores. The Commodores. That was good funk. Come on,
Commodore.
the Commodores. She's a brick.
Oh, okay.
House.
She might to my crown. That's a good song.
That's
I
a
like
good song, yeah.
But you know what that's saying though is that like she's so like thick. She's like a brick house. She's built like a brick house.
Yeah.
Not like in a nigga way. Like he's built like a brick house, but like she's solid or like she's
And just there,
she's curvy like a brick. You know.
you know, they got those sharp ass edges and shit. I like listening to funk because I like to hear like the origins of like modern day, like "Get Lucky" by Daft Punk. Hearing like the inspiration,
house. It's called house music, I believe, or like electro house, some shit,
something like that.
Or
But
like Swedish House Mafia shit, right? Similar.
I've never heard Swedish House Mafia.
Everybody's heard Swedish House
Almost
Mafia.
said Swedish Mouse. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the opposite of Norwegian apartment. Nah. You know Swedish House Mafia, the one that's like, don't you worry, child.
Oh, yeah.
That's his house. It's like house music. It's like European house music.
I like the bass line in "Get Lucky" because it is like a funk 80s style like.
Which one is Get Lucky?
She's up all night
To this song,
okay, yeah.
we're up all night. It's got like that boom, 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 boom.
Dude, I actually don't like Daft Punk. Like I like techno.
I like Daft Punk themselves, but that bass line was
I
cool.
like everything except like Daft Punk. Like I'll listen to like Venga Boys or Toy Box or just like weird shit like that. And then even like after that, or because like this is the same thing. Daft Punk is like the middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was like the '90s techno, right? Like Gigi D'Agostino and Venga Boys and all that. Like Aqua. Right, like Barbie Girl, right? And then there was that like Daft Punk era, and I just never got into it. I just can't fuck with Daft Punk. And then after that, it was like house and electro swing and that kind of shit.
I'll always like the original Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. That's just like such a classic like.
That's by
song.
them, right?
That's by Daft Punk. Yeah,
is that
that's
called
an
that or is it
old
different?
song. It's called that. It's called Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. But then Kanye sampled it in his song Stronger, and that's actually how I got into it because that is my favorite Kanye song.
Nah, it's not as good as Jesus Walks.
I love Stronger. That like it's so funky and like it just reeks like 2000s. You know, it stinks like you smell like oh god, that's the 2000s right there.
It stinks.
It's got like in the same way that what's the how could she be so heartless? What's the name of that song?
Heartless.
Heartless, like how it has that vibe that you just know that was created in like in between 2004 and 2010. That God, I just
or like This Love by Maroon 5, like that just like screams 2000s. Whoa.
Whoa. I thought Adam Levine was because I had never heard anybody. I was like a little kid, and he was the first person I heard sing like falsetto type high.
Right.
I thought he was the voice in the back of California Love going California Love because it sounded high pitched, and I had never heard another. And I was like listening to it in the car one day with my mom, and I was like, I can't believe Adam Levine is on this. And she turns to me and she's like, what?
Get out.
I'm like, Adam Levine from Maroon 5. She was like, dude, this thing was created like 10 years before Maroon 5 even existed.
Can you imagine that Tupac and Dr. Dre are like in the studio? They're like, yo, Adam, come here with that new shit.
Adam Levine?
Show him that dance you do.
I got them moves like Jagger. That was a Michael Jackson. Why did I?
that was
I got them moves like Jagger. The moon.
that's a good Michael Jackson. I was going to say that.
Thank you.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Hey, fuck iDubbbz. He's a cuck now.
How did that get moved to iDubbbz?
Because like he said, hey, that's pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I can't with iDubbbz, bro. Like
I've never watched him.
Really, dude.
Never.
Some of his stuff is top notch. Have you seen Full Force?
Nope.
That shit's amazing. I recommend it.
Oh,
I don't know why it said nope. So nope.
no, I have.
Nope, and I'm not going to.
No, I fucking love Full Force because it like like it's full of people that I fucking loved interacting with in high school. Like those fucking kind of like
those out there people.
They have like almost no social cues and stuff, so they're just like really pure. Like
yeah,
they're fucking. They might be off-putting, but it's like they're themselves and shit.
I know so many people look at them.
Y'all watch Video Game High School?
No. Was it on Cartoon Network or something?
No, it was like a YouTube series that got picked up and turned into a real series. It was like
right,
Video
on
Game
Network.
Was it on Cartoon Network?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, let me look this up.
I love or what is this like? Those two plants back there, Robert, they're not fused together. You hit that strong enough. Like, I'm gonna go out. Or what do you say?
He's like, that part is not fused right. You pulled me there. I will die.
I will die.
Was it Cartoon Network?
Still going full force, Robert. I love how
Rocket Jump Studios. Yeah, it wasn't
Rocket Jump. That's the YouTube channel.
Yeah, it was made by a YouTube channel, but their series got so popular that it became like it was. Oh my god, that was such a good time of my life when I watched that. God, I haven't seen it in so long, but I can tell you firmly, I would still enjoy watching Video Game High School.
What is that?
It's so basically the whole thing is like there's this like very elite gaming school where like people from around the world who are like actually like pro competitors go to study and practice gaming. They go there instead of regular high school, and they have this like so what happens is this dude, this like regular ass dude, he's on an online game with like the best, like the golden god, like Ramses in Nacho Libre. Like, and he kills him with a headshot and wins the game, and everybody's watching the stream and they're just like, holy shit, this dude killed the king. And he gets taken to that high school and pushed into that because they're like, you were able to do that, which is impossible. We know there's somewhere in you, there's an excellent gamer, and it's got like that funny, like, as he's learning and like slowly getting better and like honing his practices, but it's like a whole series. I think it's like got like 2 seasons.
Is it good? Because
I liked it. It doesn't sound very good.
It does not sound good at
all.
It
was good in 2013. So
okay,
I'll say that. I'll say that.
Well, maybe we were like 13 at the time.
We were like 13. I was barely starting to like I showed you the music that I had purchased in 6th grade. I was not allowed to have my MP3 player when I was at my dad's because he didn't like the type of music I listened to because of fucking Linkin Park.
Yeah, Linkin Park's not bad.
He took away a book from me because he said it was a book about vampires and he said it was corrupting me.
What the fuck? What book was it?
It was the Chronicles of Vladimir Todd.
Oh,
they got those
Vladimir
books that have like
Todd
the silhouette with the hoodie and he's got like the little smiley face with the fangs on it.
Oh, I think...
Remember that in 6th grade? Dude. Everybody would be reading those.
I read they had the Slayer Chronicles, which was a branch off book by the same author about his like cousin-in-law who was actually like a vampire slayer, and his whole like. Those books were way more graphic because it showed like the training process they went through, and he started when he was like 13, and it was like super graphic and like violent and shit because you have to just stab these like beasts. Like it was very graphic, but I was very into that series, and I read it in secret. And he was like, "You're not allowed to read those anymore. I don't want to see those in my house." And I'd read it in the library on lunches.
Damn,
like, fuck. I think he checked my backpack a few times for it too.
Jesus. Really? What was that other Cirque du Soleil?
Cirque du Freak. Cirque du Freak was the most badass shit that you've ever read.
What is the difference between that and that?
Well,
are they not the same thing?
From Vladimir Todd sounds like a scene kid type of thing.
It is. It was a scene kid type of thing. Cirque du Freak is just like that was just cool.
Cirque du Freak is like if vampires were like Spartans mixed with like Vikings and shit.
So gay.
Like, they have
Cirque du Freak gives off like Preacher vibes. It's very like
Preacher the show.
Preacher it's just like very like I honestly haven't read Preacher, but like the same vibes it gives off is because it's like it is very like serious. It is cool. It's not cringy about it.
Okay, but what's the premise?
Pretty much, it's like this kid. He like okay, so he steals a spider, and then like the vampire is the owner.
He steals a spider?
Yeah, like a huge rare spider, and he steals it, and then like the vampire's like, "Yo, fucking give me my spider back," and he's like, "No," and whatever the fuck. Basically, he becomes the vampire's assistant.
He was like, "No."
He's like, "No."
John C. Reilly was in the movie.
Yeah,
there's a movie.
I didn't.
There was a
movie.
movie,
dude.
I liked
Mr.
the movie.
Crabtree. No, dude, that's not him. But yeah, so it's pretty much like he becomes a vampire's assistant, and like the vampires have like a warrior culture where it's like dying of old age is like the fucking
pussy shit.
It's pussy shit. So like one of the older guys, he's like they go to Vampire Mountain, which is like every like 4 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They like congregate there, and like the oldest vampire there is like, yo, I'm like really old, so like he leaves.
Yo, I'm like really old.
He's like, I'm like fucking elderly and shit. So like in the middle of the night, or the middle of the day, he leaves and he like fights a bear and he dies, and it's like, yo, he died with honor. So it's like it's pretty cool, man. I don't know.
How do you lose to a bear though if you're a vampire?
Because he's fucking old.
Because he's old as shit. Like his first line, his opening line was like, "Yo,
I'm old.
I'm old as shit, man."
Yeah. Okay, I see.
And I will say, like Cirque, I keep saying Cirque du Soleil. Cirque du Freak does not carry the same cringiness that Vladimir Todd does. It was fucking middle school. I was getting bullied,
Cirque du
you know.
Freak actually has like a manga series, which is
really,
yeah, it's manga interpretation.
Manga
interpretation. God damn it! Okay, never. I just won't talk.
End the podcast. That's it.
Put it back on. Nope, not till you learn your lesson.
He could get his mom to come in here and just yell it.
Daniel.
Yeah. Daniel's like, "Stop, dude! You freak me out."
You're giving me the sweats.
You're playing, right? You're
playing.
Hey, that was you, right? You didn't. When you turned away, you like covered your mouth. That wasn't like her, right?
Fool, you're messing with me, fool. My mom told you not to be telling me those stories, and I can't sleep at night.
And you hear the stomping coming down your hallway, and you're like, "Oh shit, dude! Oh shit, dude!" And you guys, "Oh hey, how are you, mom?"
Fucking Cirque du Soleil and shit. But what did I even read in middle school? I can't even remember.
Who read books, man?
Nothing. No, I had a very different taste because I wasn't like I read that kind of shit when I was like in elementary, and then in middle school I just read like what? Like, not in a demeaning
I read that shit when I was like in elementary.
Okay,
man.
but no,
I get that.
I read the Napoleon biography.
It was good. It was good.
I read the Communist Manifesto.
I'm not saying like that's a better taste or some shit because like it's not, but like. I was just like, that's what I was into. I just loved biographies and shit for some reason.
I think mine was because when I was in elementary school, I was always like racing to have like the highest like AR. I was always like racist. No, I was always like racing to have the highest AR. Hold on. I just had a memory that I need to tell you guys before it leaves. I remember in elementary school on Halloween, we all dressed up, and I dressed up as a Ninja Turtle, and they said, anybody dressed up as a superhero, come to the center of the campus. And I left, and like 5 kids were like, dude, Ninja Turtles aren't fucking superheroes, get out of here. And I was just like, yeah, they are, they fight crime and stuff. And they're just like, no, they don't have powers, they're just turtles. And I'm like, they're turtles with powers. I had to like argue and defend my way of being there, and then everybody was just like sneering at me because they were like Superman and Batman and shit, and I was just one Raphael.
That's sad.
But anyways, what I was saying was I was always racing to have like the highest AR level in the class. And I think because I read so much like very strenuous, boring shit in elementary school that when I got to like middle school, I was like, I'm going to read the fun stuff. I know I can read at a very high level. I'm not...
Right.
I don't need to prove that to myself. I just want to... It's like watching an Adam Sandler movie. You're like, I know I'm above this, but like, why not?
I feel that. No, but what I'm saying though is that like in middle school, there was like when I was like on that like intellectual shit, and I was reading, I would read biographies, and like I'd read like the Kite Runner and just like big books and shit. And then with high school, it's like, I'm just gonna embrace my retardedness, and I was just like reading nothing but like mangas and comic books and graphic novels. But I mean, to give credit, there's a lot of great graphic novels though.
Yeah, but school just has like a way of just like ruining any motivation you have for reading or just learning in general.
Right.
You know how different my high school career would have been, or my entire school career would have been, if they let people choose their own books. Like, you can, like, do something to make sure it's on the same level, at least have, like, a list that people could choose to read from, and they get a different final for each book. But making everybody read the same book, I get it's a good book, man, but I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I did not read Grapes of Wrath, 1984.
1984 is good, but Grapes
It
of
was
Wrath...
good, but I didn't read it. I didn't read it
either.
Into the Wild.
Of those.
Into the Wild. I was riding on the seat of my ass. All of Mr. Leclerc's class. You remember?
Same here.
If they let us like pick our own books, like when I read Christine by Stephen King, I could not put that book down. That was like a year earlier. I was like, I carried it with me. That shit was like sitting next to me on the bus. I forgot it on the bus a few times and had to run back and be like, shit, dude, I forgot my book. That shit was so worn. I'd reread pages that were good. It was such a good book. And that's on the same level. That's a thick-ass book. That's a high comprehensive level. It's on the same level of some of those other ones, you know?
Dude, that was such a vibe though when you were in school and you finally get to a class and you sit in the back and you're just like, I'm gonna read my book in class. It was such a vibe, bro. It felt so good.
When you finish the test 20 minutes before the class period ends and you just pull out your book.
You just whip out that book and you just get into it and you're just like in a little state of mind and it feels so real and shit. That was so nice.
You stay like 3 minutes after the bell rings.
Right.
It's like lunch starts and you're just like, I just gotta finish this chapter real quick.
Yeah.
God, imagine how that must make teachers feel so good if that one kid stays in the back of the class reading a book and they're like, huh, I guess I am actually making some sort of a difference, you know?
I miss that feeling. I mean, like, it's, I just can't do it anymore, you know?
I miss having potential and shit.
I thought you were going to say I miss having potatoes. I was like, shit, dude.
What happened to the potato?
Like, I used to eat mashed potatoes every day, but, like, my mom doesn't make them anymore. I miss them, man.
Fucking potatoes.
But like Mr. Leclerc also said the same thing where he's like, he just like doesn't really like what he's teaching. Or it's not that he doesn't like it, but he's like,
I hate this fucking job,
I
yo.
hate this.
It's not that he doesn't like what he's teaching, but he's like, yeah, I get that you guys don't really connect to it. I would like to show like Muhammad Ali, like the civil rights movement, but like from the eyes of Muhammad Ali or something like that. Just like something more interesting than like just like reading a textbook, you know?
Right.
If I could go back in time and change one thing in high school, I would have paid more attention to Mr. Leclerc's class. He was such a great teacher.
Yeah.
I did not deserve that shit. I was... Damn, dude.
No, dude, you were having a tough time because like you were having like trouble sleeping, finding places to sleep.
It was right after I moved out of my dad's, and I was like, immediately, like a week after I moved out, I went and applied for a full-time job. I don't know why I didn't look this up, and they were like, you can't get a full-time job till you're 18. And I was like, well, fuck, that was my entire plan.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, that's true, but I wish I could have paid more attention.
Yeah. That's how I feel about Mr. Drain's class. Like, he just, like, went out of his way to, like, make actual lectures about, like, modern world history. And to the point where, like, I looked him up on YouTube and I started watching some of his lectures.
Really?
Yeah. It was, like, really interesting.
Mr. Drain was a great teacher. He made it, like... I love teachers that can make it comfortable in the classroom, you know? Like, you can ask them a question if you don't get something. You can come up to them for something outside of class, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They tell you little bits about their lives, like him and his biking. Like, that was cool.
Yeah.
He made a 9/11 joke to us.
Yeah.
Once.
Jesus, what did he say?
He walked past the desk, and I think it was Jack Vaughn. Jack was like... And it was all of us. It was me, Jack Vaughn... No, Jack Vaughn wasn't there. He was on the other side. It was me and Blazin'. I think. Were you there?
I think so.
Yeah, me, Blaze, and Leo, and some other dude that was cool as fuck. But Mr. Drain walked past our desk, and our amateur asses, we were like, fucking Truman did 9/11. And Mr. Drain leans over and he goes, yeah, and Bush did Hiroshima. And then walked away, and we were like, this guy, that was clever, because, like, he didn't technically say Bush did 9/11, but, like, he, like, inserted that little joke.
One of us.
One of us.
But that entire mock trial was like a whole ass saga of our lives, of just that year.
It felt real. He made it feel real. I still feel so bad when Jack Vaughn went up there with his like big paper that he had like prepared. He was like so prepared for that day, and I called out like a technicality in the very beginning of it. And Mr. Drain was like, I'm sorry, he's right. And he, like, that was all he had prepared. And
What was the technicality?
I don't remember, man. I have terrible memory. I can barely remember, like, what I ate yesterday. But...
Food.
Yeah, some sort of food.
Nah, I remember, for me, I had to carry my whole ass team. Because it's like, I gave the opening speech.
Mm-hmm.
I got the most important... Because I was a prosecutor. I did the most important... what was it, cross-examination, which was like the president and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then like on the last day of the trial, my partner, the other lawyer, didn't show up at all. Like, she was absent. She texted me in the morning. She's like, hey, you're gonna have to do it. And I was like,
that's fuck. Like a movie, man.
So like I was in the bus ride. I was on the bus ride to school, and I quickly just like wrote something up on a piece of paper. And I had that class like first period. So yeah, like I delivered the final statement too. So I was carrying my whole ass team. And
you guys
even
win?
the witness, yeah, and then we won. And then even the witnesses, I was telling them, I was like, say this, okay? Say this when I ask you this. And then, like, yeah, we ended up winning, so it was, like, pretty sweet.
I didn't have to
Well, I mean,
tell any waitresses. I didn't have to tell any waitresses shit, man. No, I didn't have to tell any witnesses anything because I was just a good ass lawyer.
You came in like a whole ass suit.
I came in a whole
I came
ass
in a
suit.
suit.
Me and Blazin were like on fire, dude. Ikben and Stockbakken, we called it racist attorneys at law. I don't know why. Man, what was I? I was on some other shit back then.
Based, bro.
I was based. I was very based.
Red pill.
Red pill and base.
But now I'm just cringe. I used to be based, but now I'm cringe. Ask your doctor how you can make the change today.
Keklavia. 1 pill a day supplement.
Redidium.
Redidium. Forchanium.
Symbium. I feel like that's what makes you.
Symbium
That's what
is when
turns
you're
you
too
from.
base, then you have to lower back down.
You have to lower back down to cringe. You take Symbium. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Ask
Dude,
your
it was
doctors.
easy. It was easy to win the trial though because the president was a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Because I was like, "Are you aware of how many people died in the bombings that you ordered?" Then he's like,
Yeah.
"Millions." I was like, "Millions." I straight up asked him. I broke character. I was like, "Millions."
Are you sure this is?
Then I was like,
This is what
y'all make sure you heard that. Y'all heard that.
y'all. I can't imagine what it would have been like to do mock trial with Brian Craig.
Dude, you would have slaughtered.
Oh,
that.
he would have just. He would have gone up there like with this smirk on his face, and in one day just destroyed, ended everything.
On some Ace Attorney, on some Phoenix Wright shit, he would just like, objection! And he fucking killed you.
When I was in a Mr. Askew's class, I took one of those political alignment tests, and he asked if he could hang it up on the wall because at the time he said it was the most left-leaning test results he had ever seen. The next day, because he had us do that on the first day. Next day, it's taken down from the wall because Brian Craig was in the other class, and he knocked my shit out of the water.
But it's not a contest, though.
It's not a contest, but like that was the highest he had seen, and Brian Craig made that seem like nothing. You know, he knew everything. That man was a genius. I mean, I know it's not like a contest to see who could be the most progressive.
Who's the most communist?
But I think part of the reason is I didn't answer a few questions because I didn't understand them. You know, I was like, I don't know. I don't feel like if I don't think I'm knowledge enough to weigh in on the subject, I'm not going to weigh in on the subject because I don't want to sound like an idiot who's just blindly following
An ideology.
Yeah.
I mean, for our class, it was Cole. Cole's the most.
Oh,
It was like he was more left than Bernie Sanders.
The angel Cole.
And then Tanner was like more right than Rush Limbaugh.
Do you think you can make a hard-boiled egg where the whites are still clear?
What are you talking about?
Like, do you think that is possible? I just think that'd be cool, like a hard-boiled egg, but the whites are still like clear, like glass, and you just see like the little yolk in there,
Dude,
and it's soft
why?
like an egg.
That'd be so gross.
And they'd be so gross, but it would be so cool to see and like split it open. God. Anyways,
Where did that come from?
it just popped in my head, man.
Jesus.
But like,
Like politics and eggs.
Politics.
And
We were talking politics, and I'm just like, dude, fucking
That's how
hard-boiled
the
egg.
debates are gonna
but
be.
see through.
That's what the debates.
fucking Joe Biden.
They're like winding him up. They're
Mr.
winding
Trump.
him up during the commercial breaks, and then Trump's like assaulting people or just like smoking like meth or something.
They just put someone in front of him, and he just spits on their face, and another person. And Joe Biden's just.
And we are back.
Guys,
to
do you
commercial
think
break.
we could take a hard-boiled egg and get the whites so that they're clear, so that you could see through and see the yolk when you're eating your hard-boiled egg?
My eggs are the best. I have the best eggs of
I have the
anybody
best
here.
eggs. They're
White
imported from-
eggs, not clear.
They're imported from the way eggs should be.
Fucking no, because think about it. Like, it would be actually pretty cool to see the clear whites. It's like, thank you, Mr. Thank you,
Mr. Biden. That is
Think about it. Just think about it.
For real,
If you saw that, wouldn't you be like, "Whoa, that's"? Wouldn't you at least say like, "Hey, that's kind of neat"?
Thank you, Mr. Biden.
Wouldn't you?
Thank you, Mr.
You called me Mr. President. Does that mean I win? I mean, if I win, could I make these eggs? Could I?
Ooh, that's a lot of malarkey to take in at once.
I just gotta say, I remember. I don't know if you remember this. The time I was out in the quad doing a Trump impression right after Leo had taught me, and you walk by and you're like, "Dude, that's a sick Trump impression." I'm like, "Thanks, man." And you walk away, and Leo's just like, "Dude, I just taught you how to do that." And then like you had me like say a couple things, and I think you like even filmed me say a couple lines in the.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think it was you. It was either you or someone else that was like, hung out with you.
Mm-hmm.
But like it was like that Key and Peele sketch where he's like, I wish I was high on pot news. The other guy's like,
I wish I was high on pot and news.
and then like Gabriel Iglesias is coming in and they're like, tell him your joke, and the guy's just like, that was my joke. That's how it felt. I'm so sorry, Leo.
Dude,
that was.
I probably learned that shit on the internet or something. Anyway, it was probably.
I mean, everybody has a Trump impression, just like everybody has a walk-in.
Yeah, mine's pretty fucking awful. I found out recently.
Nah, you can't do a bad walk-in.
Watch, hold on, open the door. I'll walk in. I'll walk in worse than you've ever seen. Sorry.
I will kill you.
I knocked over you, little guy.
You know I can choke you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think I'm so tense?
He's prepared.
I know both of you guys are regular boxers.
We literally fight every week.
I have not done a single push-up in like a year and a half. I should honestly try one.
You should try one. After the podcast.
After the podcast,
Jamie,
I'm gonna try.
Jamie, just...
Yeah, Jamie. Hey,
Hellraiser?
can I get a can I get a refill? What the fuck is wrong with
the
it?
Joe Rogan death stare where he's like, where like Jamie talks out of turn, he's like,
Oh,
just say.
I didn't even know we were referencing a real podcast.
It's
No,
the
it's
Joe
Joe
Rogan.
Rogan.
I've never heard the Joe Rogan podcast. I've never actually.
Why
You
not?
fool!
You're not based?
I'm not based. I've only seen like the clip where he had Oliver Tree on there with the vapes, with the giant vapes. That was it. That's all I've seen. I've seen a lot of Joe Rogan podcast memes. I love the one where with Elon Musk, like I was gonna say taking a puff.
He's taking a pusk.
Elon Musk taking a pusk.
Stonks. It's like, Stefan, you're right. It's like Stefan's having a strong.
what the fuck was that?
It sounded like the Iron Man. When he aims it, it's like.
This nigga was like getting ready for TikTok.
God, God damn it. I'm sorry. God. Stonks is having a stroke. That makes me sound immediately out.
And I miss you, and I love you.
It sounded like a fuck. I literally sounded like like you turn on your computer.
Or like the vacuum.
The sound of a vacuum. There is a vacuum, isn't there?
Is there? Did I not put that
No,
away?
no.
That's my fucking computer. That's just
No,
like,
I thought I heard a vacuum outside. That's just the ringing in my ears. Holy shit.
Jesus. I was gonna bring up a serious subject.
I was gonna make an Elon Musk joke.
Right. Where he's like smoking the weed on the podcast.
Because you said stonks or strong.
What was it? Pus.
I was gonna say like when you sell all of your stocks and then tweet something out to intentionally lower them and buy back many more at a much lower price before they go up again and ruin many people's lives in the process. Stonks.
Munsk.
Munsk, and it's just the picture of him taking.
Dude, that happened to me because I was doing like some big short type of stock investing and shit, and it totally backfired and it blew up in my face because everything is crashing right now. So like, I have hella Apple shares now, but they all suck, like because they're all going down. So it's like fuck, like it's blowing up on me.
Isn't the thing you just gotta like?
You just gotta wait it
Yeah,
out.
you just gotta. Because it always.
I've
goes
made
back up
like
pretty
$50
much.
on stocks. I don't know. I've made like $50 on stocks. Stocks so far, and it's only been like I only put in like $70 and I've made back 50.
Nice.
I genuinely said stocks.
What do you use?
Robinhood.
Robinhood. I use
Yeah.
Cash App. That shit's hella easy.
I downloaded Cash App and made an account after I already set up for Robinhood, so I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna leave it.
Is Robinhood the one that puts the money into your that it invests your change, or is
No.
that Acorns?
I think that's Acorns. Robinhood is just basically another it's like the Cash App. It's not fucking Credit Karma. It's like the Cash App one, but it's just that in an app, you know?
Right. I should probably look into that then. Can you make calls on that? Because like if you can make calls on that, I'm
I
interested.
don't know if you can make calls. Hold on.
Because I know Spencer was talking about how he makes calls, and it's like super high risk, high reward. So it's like he made like $30,000, but he also lost a fuck ton of money.
These are all messages anytime anything goes up or down, or there's
really.
Like Tesla recently performed a 5-for-1 forward split, so like if you have
That's what I did for
That's
Apple.
what you did?
Yeah, for Apple.
So I'm investing right now $79.09, but I already took out like $30 and I only put in 70, so I'm currently at about 40 over like all time what I've
Dude,
what I made.
I was doing so good. I had like 500 in, and it was worth like 700 and shit. Damn, and I also bought hella Bitcoin, but like that shit started hella crashing, so I sold it all yesterday. Because I didn't have much in Bitcoin. I had like $40 in Bitcoin, and it was like at the time, like I put in like 25, and it was worth 30. And then I put more and more, and then I ended up putting in 40 in total. But then that shit started hella crashing, and it was worth like $41. And I was like, if I don't sell right now, I'm gonna lose money off this. So I just made back the $40 pretty much.
Robinhood will also let you do cryptocurrencies. That's
all
another
of them
thing.
Or just Bitcoin.
Any of them. I have one that I invested in called Dogecoin.
Oh, are you serious?
I have hold up, right? Where is it? 2,535 of them, and they've gone up. They range from this to up to like 4 cents each. So if it goes up to 4 cents again, my $5 is going to turn into like
$6.
close to 60.
Actually, goddamn.
Yeah.
Nah,
If I'm doing the math right, which I'm probably not.
What's that shit called? Fiat?
What?
That's
yeah,
a
it's
car.
called Fiat.
Yeah, Fiat's a car.
No, Fiat is like money. That's like, it's like currency, right? But it has like no centralized bank or some shit. So
I've heard that
probably
term, but I
right.
don't know anything about
Yeah.
investing or.
I think that's what it is. I think it's just currency, and it has no like borders or like centralized bank that it like revolves around or some shit like that. I don't know. Stonks.
God, that fucking laugh like destroyed my lungs. I can't even. God, I can't even right now, man.
Fuck. No, dude. You know what I was gonna say? Fucking Cuties came out. It finally dropped on Netflix, and it's like, dude, I don't know.
Joe Biden's taking the weekend off.
You've been in there for 18 hours. Get out! Get out, mom!
Get the fuck out of my room! I'm playing Minecraft.
No, but like, I don't know, because I was kind of like, because like, I'm really big into movies and shit, and I was debating, like, should I just like watch it to see like how fucked up it is?
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw like I saw a clip on Facebook, which is like, this is what the fucking movie is. And I saw it like dancing and shit, and I couldn't watch it. That shit was disgusting, bro. Like, bro, I've seen the most fucked up shit, like internet movies, foreign movies, banned movies, whatever. But like that shit, I couldn't get through it. I was like, fuck this, I'm not gonna watch this.
It's not right. It's just not right.
Because it's like, one thing is making a movie that's social commentary about like, I like how the director puts it. She says, this hyper-fictionalized world of social media, making a social commentary about that and how it impacts young girls' lives and how they get easily influenced. That's one thing. But I saw it, and that shit is softcore porn. Like, it's safe for work porn. It's fucking horrible. It was cringe, dude. I couldn't watch it. Draw like,
what the fuck was
shit,
Netflix thinking?
Honestly.
Did you see where it was like that? It was like that thing where it was like, Netflix, do you support pedophilia? Yes or no? Just answer yes or no. And Netflix was like, we actually can't comment on. It's like, bro, just yes or no.
Yes
like,
or
like,
no.
Do you support pedophilia? A simple yes or no will suffice. And they're like, we can't exactly comment about that right now. Or it's like, bro.
I don't care how big your company is. Just say no.
Literally.
There's no way you're gonna lose.
Who are you gonna offend?
Who are you going to offend by saying no? We do not support pedophilia.
Exactly.
For real.
God.
And I get one thing as a company absolutely refusing to have any sort of political take or stance to stay neutral, but that's not political. That's just fucking moral.
That's just moral. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I refuse to watch it now. I don't think I will. But it's like, but I was looking into it today because I was thinking about giving it a chance because from what I understood, it's actually, from what I understood, it wasn't that bad. It was just how Netflix promoted it that was really perverted and horrible. And I thought maybe it's a French film and they do technically have different standards and stuff over there. So I was like, maybe it's just a little risque or some shit. But from what I saw on Facebook, that shit was just, there's no excuse for it. Because I was looking into it this morning. Because I remember seeing a while ago, I was reading this article about the movie Leon the Professional, starring Jean Reno and Natalie Portman. Great movie. And it was it said this one thing. The French version is a few seconds longer than the American version because in the French version there's this scene where they're like sitting and having dinner together at a restaurant, and it's cut from the American version because it seems a little risque because he's a grown man and she's a little girl. But it flew in France, like no one like would have a problem with it because from what I understood, it's like that cinema like that, like French or like foreign cinema, has this archetype called a nymphette. And essentially what it is, a nymphette, is like a younger girl who's like attractive, or like her character in the movie or like book or whatever is that she's young but she's like mature for her age in a way that can be sexually or like, you know, or just even affectionately.
Yeah.
And it's like it sounds weird. It sounds weird. It's fucked up. But then I list a few movies and it's like Leon the Professional would count, American Beauty would count. And it's like, those aren't like terrible, like horrible movies, but I understand what they're coming from. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's a weird thing, like, because it also mentions Lolita by Nabokov.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
So Lolita, so nymphet is actually just a word that's an archetype, and it's an aesthetic, and it's the same thing as a Lolita aesthetic. But it's like, it's essentially, it's interchangeable with the term Lolita. And it's, I don't know, it's weird because it's like, in a way, like, I can see what they mean, but at the same time, I'm not cool with that.
Yeah.
Like
that might be okay in France, but not, I'm sorry, I'm not in fucking France.
Right.
Y'all can do whatever the fuck you want, but
pardon
I'm
my French.
Pardon my French, but...
No, but like, the counter-argument would be, like, American Beauty, that technically would be, like, an nymphet, right? But American Beauty is not a bad movie. Like that subplot is kind of, it's, like, morally, maybe legally wrong. I don't know if they ever said she was 18 or not. I'm not sure. All we know is that she's a lot younger than the dad. But it's, like, it's not a bad movie, and I really do like American Beauty. But, like, that archetype is weird because I can't fuck with it, you know?
There's no way to get behind that archetype.
Right.
Y'all remember the fucking 1960-something Romeo and Juliet movie? How, like, the actress wasn't able to get in to see the movie because she was 14 when she filmed her own nude scene. So she was not... So there was a nude scene, so she was not allowed to go see the movie because she was too young to see her own nude scene.
You know what I heard? It was the same thing for the Blue Lagoon. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, it's a controversial movie on its own because she was actually underage when they filmed it. But for all the nude scenes, they used an older model. Like,
see,
20. So that's perfectly fine.
That's different. They didn't do that in Romeo and Juliet. But she couldn't go to her own movie, same thing. Yeah. For some reason, Ms. Roberts told us about it, and she took like a good 20 minutes to explain it to us. And I was like, that's cool, but like...
The golden age of cinema, 1930 to 1940. Just like a whole ass lesson. It's like, which is why there's a nude scene. Just like, conclusion.
That's it.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Question. Favorite all-time teacher, and why?
Shit, man.
Oh, that's too hard.
Mr. I think his name was Lamb. Lamb with a B. He was at a middle school in Bakersfield. That's where I lived, yeah. This dude, every single day, would start off with a 15 to 20 minute presentation on some significant event in history from that day. And he'd like have like video lessons and stuff like that, and like he was a very hands-on and like their teacher. Mr. Fairbanks. No. He was like Mr. Drain level, where like he actually captivated you and found ways to keep you entertained. And I feel bad because it's the only teacher I've ever pranked.
What'd you do?
I bought one of those keychain remotes that can connect to any TV. So every time he tried to play a video, I'd just mute it or turn it off, and I'd just be sitting there trying not to laugh. Because my ass, you know me, I will laugh at anything. I'll be like at Subway, and they're like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "A foot long." So I'm sitting there having to keep a straight face as he's like, "Okay, what's going on with this TV?" And I'm just like, "Me?" I feel so bad, but like...
But
I don't know. It was funny. That shit was funny, so like it's okay. Yeah, that dude was
just a social experiment.
That dude was like such a great. He's just great at teaching, and I respect that shit. I learned a lot in that class, and it's hard for me to actually learn in a class. The only other teacher that's actually been able to make me like learn, Mr. Fry and Mr. Rucker. Those are it.
For me, it'd be either Mr. Harvey or this one teacher. This one teacher I had back in Modesto. I went there for a few months. He was a history teacher. He was so fucking cool, bro, and like he just did not give a fuck because like he had seniority and shit. So like straight up, like he'd get into a roasting contest with this one kid, and it wasn't like vanilla either. Like they straight up go at each other. It was hella funny because I think his name was Mr. Levantini, I think. But like he'd like forget something, or he'd try to be thinking of something. And the kid's like, yeah, I guess old age fogs up the mind, and he'd be like, yeah, what's your excuse? Oh. Then he's like, what? Masturbation fogs up the mind? And we're like, damn, straight up. And he'd always make fun of him because he's like so pale. Then he's like, why is it just your? I was like, why's your sweater just there? Like, where'd you go? Like, So I can just see through the walls. I can just see the wall in the back room. And there's shit like they just hella be roasting each other. And like he was just so cool. And the thing is, like, history's always been my favorite subject. And I'd hella murder that shit. I would answer questions before he even asked them. And like he would just love me so much. Like I think he was a teacher that did the boosters shit, so he would sell candy and chips and shit like that. And like I'd get something right, he'd just grab a Skittles. He's like, "Here, Mendes." He just throw him. I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And then like when we did like the class things where we split into two sides and we have to do trivia, everybody would be like trying to get me and shit. But like we were just so cool and we hella connected. And like it sucked, like when I moved, like I wanted to get out of Modesto, I wanted to come back to Paso, but like it sucked because like he was a cool teacher. And like I don't know, I've had a lot of interesting teachers, and I've also had a lot that I can't fucking stand.
Yeah.
Shit. I'm like trying to think of like my favorite teacher.
Boy or girl?
Burger.
I mean, it depends on what the criteria is for favorite.
Favoritism is a bloody spectrum.
Hamburger.
I think it might be Rucker just because he was so like unorthodox in the way he taught.
Mm-hmm.
He's just kind of like a bro, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, he was almost like a student because like he like didn't like the staff, not the staff, but like the administration either.
Yeah.
And he would like talk shit about them low key.
He protested school shootings.
I remember that. I saw the video. He was like laying on the concrete, right? There was like a coffin outline, and they told him he had to get up or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. They were like, John, can we talk about this or at another time or something like that? And he didn't get up at a few times, and they were like, John, I don't want this to have consequences, and that's what they had to say to get him to get up. And I was like, fuck you. He was literally laying on the ground. Like, that's the fact that they had to like...
See, but I see where they're coming from, too.
I see where they're coming from because it's a teacher, but... It was just so cool of him. Like, damn, I respect that, man.
Mm-hmm.
I see that. I definitely respect that. But at the same time, it's like it's also like you gotta consider it. Like, teachers can't get political. And unfortunately, that's just how America is. Or even like something like fucking school shootings or pedophilia or whatever the fuck becomes political. Like, that's just where we are at this point. But, like, I give him props for that. Fucking Mr. Land was on top of that shit, too. Like, he was hella with us, like... I think every human should be, because it's like, bro, we were like students in high school, and the worst fucking school shooting in U.S. history happened when we were going to high school, and it's like, we were all paranoid, we were all on edge. You remember those years? Or those weeks? We were all hella paranoid.
I ditched school for the first half of the day for one day. Sorry, I ditched half of the day because somebody posted some shit on Snapchat, and I like sent it to Rucker, and I was like, listen, I'm not going to be in class today, I don't want to risk that shit. And he reported it to the principal. No, he's the one that reported it to the principal, because I was just like,
was it the kid that took a selfie? This like, I want to shoot.
It was a picture of a gun, and it said something like, it was very blatant, like, oh, don't go to school tomorrow or something like that. But he was like, oh, I photoshopped it, and he showed them how he photoshopped it. I'm like, you dumbass, dude. Like, with everything going on right now, did you really expect nothing to?
Did it?
It was I think Elliot Navarro. He was like a couple years. It was 1 or 2 years. I think it was just 1 year under us. He was in Rutgers intro class, like our junior or senior year. I think it was senior year. Yeah, he had like a curly, big hair. He always wore like a black hoodie.
Did he have black hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember.
I don't know. I might have seen him, but I'm not sure.
I get he was just messing around, but yeah, that shit was.
Those were tense times, bro. They were super tense.
They were.
We even had the lockdown or whatever.
That was a whole ass thing, bro.
They never checked my classroom.
Really?
I remember because I was really afraid because I had like my entire backpack loaded up with vape stuff that I just got that day, and they were like, police will be coming to search everybody's bags, and I was just like, shit, man. I was trying to think of places to hide it, and then they just never came, and I was like, dope.
Dude, I had a knife on me, bro. And it's like, I had it for self-defense because all the shit was going down. Everybody was locked in their classrooms. The shit was going down. Kids were crying. So I was like, fuck it. I always carry a knife on me because I'm always prepared. And I had that shit in my back pocket. And then at the end of the day, because a whole bunch of stuff happened, but like, we were at the office. Because remember, we got kept afterwards, too, for like 30 minutes?
Yeah.
We were at the office. We were finally going to get to go home. And then they're like, all right, we just got to search everyone before, like, you go. And I was like, fuck. So what I did, when nobody was looking, I snuck it into my sleeve, when I was pretending to adjust my pants, and I put it right on my waistband, and I just like tucked everything in. And then they're like, all right, like back pockets. I showed them, like, and it was a teacher doing it, so she's like, all right, let me see your pockets, turn them inside out, etc., etc. Then I left. And then right after I left, they started doing real pat downs where they put you up against the wall, pat you down, they move your belt and stuff, and like they lift your shirt. The real pat downs right after I left. So it's like if they would have done that to me, I would have been caught.
Jesus, man.
It was a whole ass thing.
I think I heard like one of the teachers like he was like, listen, if you guys have like weed or anything, just put it in the kiln and just like.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the ceramics teacher, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had the kiln. That dude was.
He was
That
fucking
dude
chill,
was
dude.
the coolest.
He straight up said that.
Yeah, that's what I heard, and that's
What-
like, from like multiple people. That's what
Even
I
if that's just a rumor, they make up that rumor because he's a cool teacher. You know.
Well, like I could completely understand that, because it's like if this is something as serious as a school shooting, like threat or warning, I don't want my kids to go down for something as dumb as weed. You know,
Yeah.
like they don't deserve it. I could understand where he's coming from.
I get that. Yeah, that's cool. It's like when it's something as serious like that, you're able to look past minor things. Like if you do have a little weed on your video, one dude just pulls out like a whole fucking like 2-gallon bags, and he's like, "Hey, is there more room somewhere else? I got a lot of shit to."
Then it's like
Some
The
kids
kids
like,
is
"Can I
like,
have
just
my
put-
gun somewhere?"
just put it in the kiln. Then they look afterwards. It's like meth pipes and it's like crack and shit.
Someone turns on the kiln and they walk in the room and it's all just filled with smoke.
fucking
It's just like-
hotbox. Yo, hotbox ceramics room, dude.
And one kid's just like, "I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm the one with a gun. Just come get me, man. Honestly, like I don't want to make all these guys go through."
Everybody like opens up and stuff because like the whole class is hot box. He's like, yeah, I'll say it. I brought the gun. You know, like I'm
the
just
one-
glad I could get it off my chest.
You know what? I thought you guys hated me, but like now I see like you guys are fucking cool.
We're all just chimpanzees. You know,
We're all just fucking monkeys, man.
we need to go back to monkey.
Monkey.
We need to go back to monkey.
Leo, what's your opinion on monkey?
Dude.
Hamburger.
Hamburger, cheeseburger, big I fucking love monkeys, and but, but I don't.
But there's a but to it.
What's
But
your
I kind of like. It's kind of like a pet peeve when they're like
Ooh.
when people call chimps monkeys. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're not technically
They're
monkeys.
apes,
They're
right?
different animals.
I get it for the meme, but I don't know. It's like
They're not monkeys.
they're
Yeah.
not monkeys.
Chimps are simians, right?
Apes, whatever the fuck.
Simians, yeah.
Ape.
Return to ape.
Return to ape. Return
Dude.
to monkey.
I remember watching the Planet of the Apes in theaters, and like fucking Caesar's holding like I forgot the bad monkey
Koba.
name.
Koba.
And
Koba chow.
he was like, "Ape, not kill ape," and I sat next to my cousin, and I was like, "He better not say you, not ape," and then he goes, "You, not ape," and I was like, "No, he fucking did it!" And he like cuts him, and oh
Or he
god,
throws
that
him or
was,
whatever the
or he
fuck.
throws him, yeah. God, when that like that sneer, "You are not ape."
Mhm.
God, that delivery,
Koba,
man.
not ape.
That was
Koba,
just like
not ape. Yeah.
kind of like a weird outlier of a trilogy. It was like an anomaly because it was like
It just happened.
it was like based off of like an old intellectual property from the 60s or whatever. But
Mhm.
like it was just completely original characters, and like there was lots of scenes where they were just doing sign language and stuff. So
And
it
I
was
hate,
like an anomaly.
I actually kind of I liked it. Like,
I loved
those
it.
movies, dude.
I feel like nobody talked about it, but everybody saw them.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about it, but everybody's seen the Planet of the Apes movies, and they're all great. They're all wonderful.
That's a
like-
good point. I love the second one, where it's like with Koba and shit, because it's like you have this great power struggle dynamic between Caesar and Koba, and like what they do is actually incredibly representative of like how human politics and how humanity works. Like these power struggles do exist between like the old ways and the new ways, and like the leader that can promise you everything that the old one can't, etc., etc. And it's I thought that was great.
Yeah, it's like I'd say the only other movie that represents that very well is the Santa Claus 3 when Jack Frost.
Oh, the escape clause.
The escape clause, yeah, when Jack Frost takes over as Santa and he makes everything all like
cold.
cold and shit. He makes everything like cold and shit. Nobody like opens it up for tourists and all that. Like, God, dude.
That's like what Wakanda is about, right? I didn't see
Animal
it.
Farm.
And I like Animal Farm.
Animal Crossing. Yeah, I haven't seen Animal Crossing.
I haven't seen Animal Crossing.
I haven't seen Animal Crossing. What's that one about again? Isn't like that
Like-
Crossy Road game, right?
Like,
It's
Stalin's
a movie.
pig or something.
Stalin's a pig. Yeah, I love Stalin. He's a pig.
Yeah, I love Stalin. He's a
That was a great book, but the way it was like taught to me in school, it was like we read like the first like maybe like 70 pages, and then we just said fuck it and watched like the movie.
Oh, I hate the movie. It's so
it's
inaccurate.
So fucking awful. Dude.
It's terrible. Like with the book, you can imagine it in your head, and it looks so cool because like it's like these animals are the Soviet Union, you know, and it's like they go to war and all sorts of shit like that. But then like with the movie, it's just butchered. They just butchered everything.
Mm-hmm. And the ending, I think, is different too.
It's completely different.
Because in the ending of the book, it's like really fucking haunting, where like you can't even tell the differences between the pigs and the humans. But like in the end of the animated movie,
like the
animals,
donkey gets
I
wants
no
revenge.
clue what the fuck you guys are talking about, man.
You didn't see Animal Farm, or you didn't read Animal Farm?
No,
it's one of the great books ever.
One of the great books ever.
It is legitimately one of the books.
It is legitimately. Dude, this is one of the books.
Bro, you don't even know it's a book, dude. It's a straight up book.
Hey, not to freak you guys out, but like I think there's a camera over there, dude.
Yeah, what the? Oh, dude, I thought you were serious. You're fucking with me.
Sorry.
You're fucking with me, bro. We just need to go back to Monk, bro. Go back to Monkey.
Have you guys seen the series Monk USA?
I've seen it. I've seen it.
I love that show.
The crime one, right? The Detective Monk.
Yeah, and he's like OCD and shit.
Yeah.
Tony Shalhoub.
I love it.
He's.
Well, what's the word you keep making with your mouth? I don't understand what you're saying.
Tony Shalhoub.
What's that?
That's his name.
Bless you.
But I thought you were serious, man. I was like, dude, you're telling me you don't know who Tony Shalhoub is?
He's
voiced,
Monk?
He's Monk, and he also voiced the little yellow car in Cars. The little Guido, the one that sold the one that sold tires.
Yeah.
No, Guido was the little blue guy. Luigi and Guido. Yeah. Yeah, Tony Shalhoub is like fucking stellar actor. Dude, his acting in Monk is like unbelievable.
It's incredibly average, you know. That's a good show. I like
he gets the little like ticks down, but he doesn't make him seem like fucking Kevin Bacon in Digging to China, where he's playing like an actually mental ill man and it's very overplayed. Mm-hmm. Monk it doesn't have that like very like, oh, it's a mental illness.
Right,
it's
like he's just super uncomfortable.
He's just super uncomfortable and very specific about things, and it makes it seem like normal. That's just his personality. But then it has episodes or times where things get serious, and it shows this is actually like a disease that's plaguing his life. And the way he can switch between that comedic like little nitpicking acting to like very damaged like man because it all
like his wife died.
His wife died. It was a car bombing. That's the one case he could never solve, and that's like the whole series is him like.
No, but there's like an arc, right, where like they finally get the guy.
They get the guy
in a hospital bed, and he wants to kill him, but at the same time like he wants to forgive him.
That
was good.
God, dude, Monk was just.
I remember that so clearly because he's just like he turns off the guy's life support, and it's like I forget he says something. He turns it off. And the guy starts dying, then he turns it back on.
He says something like, does he just say, I forgive you?
No, I think he just, like, he turns it off, like, this for my wife, and then I think he just turns it back on. He's like, but I forgive you. Some shit like that. It was hella cool.
Yeah, like, because, like, I think, like, what happened is, like, he wasn't supposed to be in the hospital room with him because all the cops knew, like,
right.
The attachment he had to that, and he was sitting there. He could have, like, because it was 8 seasons long, the arc. The arc was from the very beginning of the show to the very end of the show. They didn't resolve it in the middle and start a new one. So after, like, seeing this man suffer for 8 years not knowing who killed his wife, and he's sitting there and he could just flip a switch. Mm-hmm. And he has to have the strength to not do that and not tarnish his I don't know, it's just...
Bro, just, like, if he's on life support, just spit in his mouth and, like, just call it even.
Come on in.
All over the face.
Just tickle him. Fucking just make it so his drawers only open a quarter of an inch and he can't get anything out. Just fuck with him mentally.
I gotta say, I hate that was a reference to The Office, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hate my favorite all-time Office prank is one that wasn't actually focused on. It was like in a montage of like Dwight's complaints. Mm-hmm. One of them was Jim every morning would put a penny in the headset of his phone and slowly add on weight. After like months, he took him out. So then he just bashed the phone into his head because it's slowly been getting heavy. And like, oh, that's so genius that like that long.
And they never showed it.
They never showed it. They just had it like Michael Scott reading it. He was like, says you like it's oh god. I wish they would have shown
someone replaced all my pens and pencils in my desk with crayons.
Or the one where he got an Asian dude to pretend to be him and like altered his picture and everything. It's like, what are you talking about, Dwight? I am Jim.
I'm Jim. He's like, Jim's not Asian. It's like, hey, props to you for not noticing race.
God, that was...
It's a good show. I love that show, dude. It's a goat show.
I just wish there weren't so many cringy fans of it, because like it does kind of... I feel like if I announce online at all that I'm an Office fan, that groups me with everybody else who's an Office fan, and it's like, I like the show, but I'm not going to walk around wearing like a Shroot Farms Beats, a Dunder Mifflin shirt. I have the Dwight bobblehead on my desk, and that's it. You know, like...
Right.
But yeah.
I hate how everybody got into it when it got on Netflix. It's like, bro, I'd be watching this shit in middle school. Like, I'd get home from school. There's only 30 minutes left, there's only 30 minutes left on us. I quickly get home, put it on. You can watch it for a little bit. And then these motherfuckers with, like, their Netflix and their premium this and that. Now they're like, they just binge watch it in one day. And it's like, you didn't know how we suffered for that, man. Like,
the show was special for me because it was my parents' show, and they recorded it, and they would watch it when we went to bed. And there were like 6 episodes that they would let us, like, over the course of the entire series, there were 6 times. Same thing with Parks and Rec, where they would let us stay up and watch an episode, and it was just such a special thing. Like, everybody's quiet. It's 30 minutes past when you're supposed to go to sleep, and you're just like, this is like a grown-up show that I'm getting to enjoy and laugh at. You know, I didn't even get most of the jokes because I was a little kid, but like, or not a little kid, but like, you know.
16.
a child.
A child. God.
I mean, I don't know. I like that show. I never got into Parks and Rec, though. I refuse to watch it.
I've seen
it's not
Parks and
The
Rec.
Office.
I've seen Parks and Rec like 6 times. I love that show.
My cousins were telling me that they think it's actually better than The Office. But I was like,
I think it's
know.
better than The
know.
Office.
I can't do that to The Office. I'm not disloyal like that.
It's. I think the main thing is just that The Office has a much drier sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
That Parks and Rec is just very like Looney Tunes like vibe, like just very goofy comedy. But not cringy.
They're funny.
I would watch it just for Aubrey Plaza.
Oh yeah.
I would sim for Aubrey Plaza.
Fun fact: the one line which everybody who worked on the show thinks is the funniest line from the entire show was improv by Chris Pratt.
Oh, the come on her back?
No,
No?
not that one.
It's not that one. I thought it was that one.
That is one of them. That's another. That's another one. I think they had to cut that one from the show.
Yeah.
But the one that stayed in the show is the episode where Leslie Knope gets sick, and Chris Pratt from the other side of the room goes, "Hey, I typed your symptoms into the computer, and it says you have network connectivity problems." And everyone was like,
I heard of that one. That one.
They were like, I think I watched like an interview once where they were like, I was so pissed when he said that because that was the funniest line of the entire episode, and he improv'd it. Like, all the writers were just like, God damn you, man.
I heard about that one, actually, so I know what you're talking about. I know The Office had a few improv ones. Like, I don't know if they were like goat lines, but like there was one where like Dwight is with Ryan, and they're like, he's making him work like on his beet farm, and then like Ryan's like planting a seed or something, and then Dwight's like, just like how you have planted a seed into the ground, I have planted my seed into you. And that was just completely improv. And then he just you just kind of like looks at the camera and that just continues on. And it's like, and it's funny because what's his name? BJ Novak.
BJ Novak.
He actually wrote that episode. Like, he was one of the writers. So he's like, fuck. Like, he wrote the episode and Dwight just improv that.
God. Rainn Wilson. It's a shame that he was on Epstein's flight log.
Was he?
Yeah.
Who?
Rainn Wilson.
No, I didn't see that.
Rainn Wilson, he was on. From what I've heard. I mean, like I said, my information could be wrong, but from what I've heard, he was on there.
Who's Rainn Wilson? What's up?
Who's Rainn Wilson?
He plays Dwight on The Office, and he plays a few other characters. But like, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see that at all.
I don't see that
Rainn
at all.
Wilson has an incredibly normal life. He's not a high baller celebrity. I don't even see how he would ever meet Epstein, honestly. Because
it might have honestly been a meme. It might have honestly been a meme that I just believed.
True.
God, I'm gonna feel really stupid if it is.
Because there's like some really obvious ones, and there's some really like, I don't know, I feel skeptical about that. Like, for example, it's like Kevin Spacey, Trump, Clinton. Or Tom Hanks, like those ones are like, yeah, I believe that shit. That like, there's just too much smoke for there not to be a fire. But then there's other ones that just do not make sense. Like, a few of them I've seen. Like, I think Rainn Wilson was one of them. Then also Justin Roiland from Rick and Morty, and it's I don't know, like Dan Harmon. I think they even said Damien Chazelle
at one
Who's
point.
that?
Really?
The
La La
director
Land.
from La La Land and
Oh,
Whiplash
And First Man.
and First Man. No,
That's a good movie.
I haven't seen it. I was just
Which one?
First Man.
Is it like a First Woman? But
But you
First
got
Man with
Dom.
Ryan. Oh yeah,
Gosling.
we saw that one in theaters. Yeah,
Did we? Damn.
I remember because I made that meme where he's like flying up into space, and it was like, oh shit, I forgot my soda. Just hold on, we're going out. God, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
When he's like in quarantine after he like came back from space and he had been alone, and he's like, isn't that a scene where he's kind of freaking out because he was alone for so long?
Maybe.
I don't know. I might be
remember the
confusing
scene
it
where,
with another movie.
He's on the moon and like he has the locket.
He like
the what? The Glock?
Yeah, he has the Glock and shit. No, he has a locket from his daughter who passed away.
Yeah.
And he like leaves it on the moon and stuff.
Did he really though?
I looked it up and I don't know if he actually did, but
I looked it up and
heard
it
he
turns
wrote-
out I don't know.
I heard he wrote his daughter's name into the moon so it would stay there forever because there's no atmosphere or there's no atmosphere on the moon, so it's gonna stay there forever.
Some
That's what I
asshole
heard.
up there is just wiping it out. He's like, "Fuck you." I mean, but after all, none of that shit was even real. So I'm kidding.
I think the moon landing is sus as hell. I'm not gonna go out and say it's fake or some shit, but it's sus.
It's sus. I guess.
It's sus as fuck. Like, there's just so much shit that doesn't make sense.
like what?
Like
I
how
mean,
they breathe up there, man. Like there's no air.
Did they just
I don't
hold
get
their
it.
breath?
They just like
but it's like dark and shit. They can't see.
why are they walking so
Like,
slow?
Who turned off the sun? No, but like, it's sus. Like, for example, one of the things I hear is I think we've talked about this before, where it's like, they gave a moon rock to this ambassador from the Netherlands, I believe, and it was a rock officially from the moon. I believe it was like Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin or one of the ones I was actually there that gave it to him for whatever reason. And they looked into it, they did tests on it, and it was just a piece of petrified wood. Like from Earth, just petrified wood. And I've heard a few other things, like they went through the radiation belts, and it's like, I mean, those were like radiation belts, that should have like fucked you up or something, or at the very minimum, fucked up the film that they used to, film on the moon and shit. There was no digital, there was only film. And like, you can't even get like any type of film through like an airport one. It's gonna fuck it up. Radiation does not do well with it. And it's like, and they went through it and nothing happened. And then it's like, oh well, they could have put a lead casing over like the camera, like the film roll and shit. It's like, but no, they didn't. They didn't do any of that. I don't know. Like, there's just a lot of things that are weird about it, like that don't add up.
If it is real, I just gotta say, I cannot imagine like the guts it would take to like be an astronaut and get shot that far away, and like knowing when you're landing it's just going to be flying through the air and you're going to crash into the ocean. That's how you land. You crash into the ocean after falling from fucking space. Like, that is terrifying. The balls it takes, the fucking stones it takes to knowingly like volunteer for that shit, like that is, I could never do that.
I couldn't
When you
do
think
it.
about the technology that they had in the 60s, where it's like, that shit was basically a tin can.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even do that now. And like, so back then, like, Jesus Christ, man. Jiminy Cricket.
Well, that's a joke that Joe Rogan said, is that there's no like nerdy Harvard scientists that are going out there to the moon. It's like, no, they built the things. They're not gonna go right in, and they're gonna go find some square jawed, Oklahoma boy that's
Chicago in the face. Does it pay?
The astronaut farmer.
I just
Chat
picture
astronaut.
some dude with like a Forrest Gump haircut sitting on his porch drinking beer, and he's like, "Yeah, I go up in space every once in a while.
I just felt like flying to space.
I just felt like getting out here, and they said it paid pretty good, and I was like, you know what? I'll only be gone for 6 months, get another 6 months paid off with my family, it's a nice vacation time." It's just like, dude, you went to fucking the moon.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's nice up there.
It's
alright.
It's alright. It's a little cold. I don't like the big suits, but I mean, you win some, you lose some.
The radiation belts get you fucked up.
I think they did a study, and time goes like actually slower the farther you get away from.
You mean the theory of relativity?
Yeah.
Shit, dude. Is that what that
100
is?
years ago?
God, I'm very stupid. I did not know what the theory of relativity was.
That's what it is.
So you age slower when you're up there. That's crazy.
You age slower you age gravity has like an effect on the way time passes. So,
Because like the time space rests, right? Like it rests like on a plane, sort of.
I couldn't tell you. Why. I just know that it
I heard
affects
of
it.
it.
I don't practice Santeria.
That's to the point where like satellites in space like account for time differently than like here on Earth because there's like a difference.
What do you guys think about that parallel universe NASA found?
What the fuck does that even mean, man?
I mean,
In
I've heard of it,
Antarctica,
but it's like,
they had these like giant fucking machines that could basically like sense which direction time space was moving, and it's always moving in this one direction because time is linear. They got one beam of matter moving the other direction, time moving backwards. And it like the only logical explanation is it was
well, the only theoretical
explanation, I should say, not logical.
Is
theoretical
that there's a
explanation.
parallel universe where time actually goes
Time
backwards.
runs backwards, and a little bit of that energy and universe leaked over into ours, and they confirmed it. And then those CIA documents that got released earlier this year that confirmed the universe is a hologram.
A hologram?
Yeah, you can read into it. It was done in the 80s. It was done in the 1980s. It was released by the CIA recently because every document gets declassified after like a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But
like hologram or like a simulation?
Not a simulation, like a holographic.
Well, a hologram
vision.
is just a projection.
Like it is a projection. Like I don't know exactly. It's very complicated to explain. I could not read all of it, but in general, it ends up being like pretty much a hologram.
See, but that's the thing though with CIA declassified documents is like you read the headline and then you think it's like gonna burst open the entire like or the entire fabric of society and shit. But they actually read into it and it's like, oh, this is very average.
It's
For example, they
boring.
released one. I believe the FBI released one. It's like the Sons of Zion or some shit like that. I can't remember, but pretty much all the conspiracy theorists were like busting a nut over it because it's like, oh, this is what we've been talking about, and this controls the society and the media and shit. And then it's like there was nothing revealing about it. So
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. But like I'd have to look into that because like I mean the CIA isn't a space agency. They're not a scientific program.
That's true.
They're just an intelligence agency. I mean,
there's
a lot of sus shit about the CIA too. Though.
I'll have to send you the link I got.
Yeah,
one of the things that one of the tests that they ran, I didn't actually read far enough to see if they were successful or not. The way they described it in the document is that like your thought is like a light bulb in a room, and they were trying to turn it into a laser. Like that concentrated of light instead of just radiating thought, concentrating it on one thing, and they were trying to get people's brains to do that, and they said if you do that you can kind of like enter another plane of existence or something like that.
See,
that is outside of the hologram. That's what they meant by a hologram, is like if you are able to concentrate your thought that much, you can enter like what's it called when it's like astral projecting. It's essentially that. It's like you.
Okay, see, that's different.
Not okay.
Well, no,
it is another plane of existence.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like that's different because I did hear that the CIA confirmed astral projecting, so that's what you're talking about. So that I did hear about. In terms of like the whole universe is a projection, I don't know because there's a lot of laws and a lot of like there's a lot of logic and there's a lot of laws that go with the universe, and some of them don't make sense and some of them do. Like some of them can be broken. But like the thing with like the CIA confirming astral projection, I do believe because people do astral project. It's called what's it
astral projecting?
No, it's called OBE, an out of body experience. It's called an out of body experience, and it's actually 100% true. People do experience that, and it's like there's no fuck. What do you call it? Like there's no connection to like cases happening with there is, for example, like aliens. Like I saw a UFO, then it's like he says, yeah, I saw that UFO too. They don't have that with that because it's an individual experience. It's like it's like sleep paralysis. Yeah. Nobody came up with the myth of sleep paralysis. It's like people experience it. So it's the same thing with astral projecting. So I did hear that they classified it or that they confirmed that it's true, but I don't know how much that also spells out because I also heard a bunch of shit like, oh, the CIA confirmed chakras are real and shit. Then it's like, okay, does energy live or radiate off your body like in a metaphysical way? Sure, maybe. That doesn't mean your fucking $2 crystal that you bought at a gift shop is gonna change your life there.
Or rearranging your furniture.
Yeah, if you move your couch 2 inches.
I mean, like
to the
it
right.
just makes you in a better mood. Maybe you're like, that looked nice.
That shit do be
hey,
nice.
my bed used to be over there, but now it's over here, and I'm like, hey, that shit's tight.
Damn, this shit is efficient.
This shit sure is efficient. when it comes to my daily routine. That was like a Mitch Hedberg type speech.
Right, so I don't know, like, to me, when it comes to that kind of shit, like, I don't buy into the conspiracy shit a whole lot, because to me, there's a whole lot more interesting things that are already real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like...
That's true.
Because, like, people will be like, oh, you know, like, the fucking frazzle drip, cabal, spirit cooking, cannibal, pedophile, sex rings and shit, like, no. Like, you're just making, like, the real problem that's going on look ridiculous with that bullshit that they bring into it. You know, I think that applies a lot. Like, the CIA was like 9/11 and Kennedy, It's like, yeah, okay, but like, what about the documents that show that they were trafficking coke into the U.S.?
Yes.
Like, they were selling crack to the U.S. and shit.
I love
like
the
that,
Ronald
you know?
Reagan memes recently.
Oh,
like,
was it press F to send missiles to Iran?
To distribute crack into like
low-income communities.
Or shows the Ronald Reagan one is like, so you're gonna go to New York. Then it's like, the other dude, I forget his name, is like, you're going to LA. You're gonna distribute this thing like crazy in all the lower income neighborhoods. God. Or it's like, press F to send missiles to Iran. But it's like, there's just in my opinion, there's just more fucked shit that's happening in reality, that's happening now, or actually happened, than there is, like, with as much as you can make up, you know? But, like, you also got to take that into consideration as well. You can't just write everything off neither, because crazy shit does happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this year has taught us that anything can happen. In a bad way.
I just don't buy into, like, those, like, paranormal or metaphysical things where, like, it relies on your consciousness or, like, your experience, because it's like the human brain is so, like, easily, like, tricked and stuff.
And
it's
manipulated,
like, you
yeah.
can't, that's why, like, what was it, like eyewitness testimonies are, like, the lowest form of evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's so easy, like, your brain doesn't exist for, like, objective, like, record keeping. It like, it's just to keep you alive, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
they've
yeah,
like,
just like, I don't know, I don't buy into
Right,
like,
so
ghosts and shit. It's like, ghosts are real. It's like, I saw one. It's like, or you just, like, saw a mirage. You fucking
and your friends who were there were like, oh my god, was it a ghost? And you're like, yeah, it was a
right,
ghost.
so I forgot the name of the study, but they did this thing, right? Or they do this thing. It's a psychological trick where you can feed someone enough information to the point where out of nowhere they remember getting touched as a kid or getting in a car crash as a kid.
Right. Yeah.
Just from misleading questions, and that's 100% true. Like, your mom could be like, "Oh, remember when you were little, you had that red shirt that you loved so much?" And you're like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah. Remember? And you wore it every day." And then all of a sudden, your mind starts going, "Oh, I think I do remember this." No. But it's just bullshit.
I need to look something up to tell you guys.
It's like pee poo poo.
Girl boobies. Look at these.
They're real. Bro, you can't see boobies in my room.
My mom. Have you guys heard of Darren Brown?
It sounds familiar.
Illusionist from the UK, and he does like huge level social experiments where it's like he focuses on one person. He has like 50 people apply, and when he picks someone, he doesn't tell them. He contacts their family, and he's done things where he's taken somebody who is afraid of heights, and eventually over like a 6-month long period, ended up like having them on a flight, thinking that the flight is crashing, and as they're running up to the main cabin, they like put him out with like chloroform or something and put him in a flight simulator, so he believes he's actually landing this plane full of people, this dude who was afraid of heights 6 months ago, and he steps out and he sees it's a simulation and all of his friends and family are staying around. He has a 20-minute clip where he convinced like a 50-year-old man to gamble his entire life savings on the roll of a dice because he's so like convincing and he knows how to talk to you. He knows like the pressure points to put people out like immediately with touch and shit like that. It's insane. He had this dude who was like, basically, it sounds messed up, but he was I think his issue was he said he was too afraid in life, and they started with like, he worked as like a gas station clerk, and they started with like framing a robbery and like setting it up for him to stop the robbery and get that feeling, and ended up doing this like zombie apocalypse scenario where they encase your entire life in it. They are convinced 100% like he was like protecting this like child, and he ended up like running into like a field of like what he thought were actual zombies like trying to kill him. Some of it seems sus, but like when they have things like when every single person, if you're riding a bus and every single person in the bus is an actor, and they all start acting it up, and you don't even. It had been months since he had applied to the Darren Brown thing. He doesn't tell anybody. It's like a year in the making. So there's no way of knowing if you actually got picked, and most people forget about it. I mean, that one I feel like he said at the end he did have like a bit of a feeling, but like the ones with like landing the airplane, and he has more realistic ones where it's like simpler things. Like I forgot. I don't know if this one was real or not, but I think he once was like on the street with somebody, and he somehow managed to get them to forget the number 4 existed. And he was like, "All right, what comes between 3 and 5?" And they were sitting there for like, I think the timer was like 20 minutes, and they were just like, and they just could not figure it out. I don't know if that one was real, but a lot of his are real, and like I think he somehow convinced one person to like attempt to rob like an estate or something like that to commit an actual heist. And it's it's fucking crazy. The Darren Brown experience.
I'm gonna have to look into that, because that's either like incredibly innovative and genius, or it's really predatory and fucked up.
Yeah,
or scripted.
Right?
That's most likely what it is.
Some of it does feel scripted. A lot of it does feel scripted, like his short little tricks on the street. But a lot of the bigger ones, they have like cameras around the person's house and stuff, which does feel weird. But they get like the family like will make sure it's not anywhere that's actually gonna like reveal anything, like not in the bathroom and shit, but like cameras in their workplace and stuff when they're working, and they sign a consent form when they sign up for it and everything. So everything is technically legal and all that. It does come across as weird sometimes, but
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that, because that sounds weird as
it's
hell.
really weird. Even if it is fake, it's just really interesting to see. Like it's so convincing. Oh, he had one where he had this like super racist guy end up jumping in front of a bullet when someone was gonna shoot a Mexican dude.
Really?
Like it started with like, and he was sort of involved in the process. They had like a fake interview, or they said I forget how they set it up, but they got an interview with him where they were pretending to be somebody else, some other production company, and they were like, "Oh, we want to see you have a face-to-face conversation with an immigrant." And he had the face-to-face conversation. He said in the interview, it was after like a couple months of them working on him, he was like, he started tearing up and shit. He was like, "I guess I never really like thought about it from their point of view before." And at the end of it, it's like a bunch of bikers that are trying to shoot this dude, and he ends up like blocking him. And it's just,
Jesus.
God, the level of like when people leave them, like if it's fake, it's the best acting I've ever seen, because they seem like genuinely changed.
Damn.
Like it is insane. And like people are learning, like he's improving people's lives if it is real, and that's what's cool about it, is that it is like changing people's lives for the better. You know,
I could never do that, because it's like I would either get paranoid. That's like, what if they chose me and they're setting me up and I don't even know it? And then also, like, if people start acting weird, or if, like, shit starts getting crazy, like, I couldn't do that. I'd just be too paranoid.
Yeah.
I don't know. That sounds fucked it sounds like super, like, just big, you know? Like,
it is.
Big. It's just a big.
It's a bigly. Alright, sorry I talked about that shit for like a solid...
it was interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. I've also heard weird shit like that. Like, there's this thing that people do, like...
I keep apologizing to this thing down here because I think it's Leo.
But like, there's this thing that like people do, and I forget what it's called, but there's a specific name for it. But it's kind of like a live action role play that people across the world and continents do. And I'm gonna have to look into it again. But I read it, and it seems really fucking weird. Like they'll have like a premise, and then people just get into these characters across the world, and they interact with...
That sounds so fucking fun, though.
I don't know, it's weird.
I would love to just make up a character to fit a prompt and, like, try to just act that out, you know?
Right. But
like,
it's like a mass, LARP or some shit. I'm gonna have to look it up right now. But it's like, it's super complex, and there's like a whole ass storyline and like a plot and stuff.
That's crazy. That seems...
And people, like, dedicate hella shit into it, you know, like, changing their lives and identities and all sorts of bullshit. But, I don't know, it's crazy, dude. Just, like, you know what's crazy about nowadays is, like, if you can imagine it, it's probably happened. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They didn't have that before. Not in that way.
What do you mean?
For example, like, just imagine the craziest shit, and someone either likes it, you know, has a fetish for it, has done it, etc., etc. Like, think, just think, like, a random thought, like, what if someone peed, you know, in an airplane, and they let out the fucking liquids or whatever through the fuselage, and it came down from the sky, which is super high up, it freezes halfway through, and it stabs some woman in England. That's happened before.
I don't think that's how it works, bro.
What do you mean? Or, I mean, some shit. Okay, maybe it wasn't piss. I think it was like some sort of liquid. It came out of an airplane. Dead ass. It froze.
It actually happened.
That actually happened.
Oh shit.
That's what I'm saying. So like the craziest thing you can think of, you can find it. It's happened. Someone is doing it.
There are people who've survived being struck by lightning. Like many.
A lot of
people.
It's pretty common actually.
Who are just there like, yeah, dude, I was fucking hit by lightning. And they always seem like those people that took acid like 20 years ago, and they're like, yeah, I remember the day it happened. Sitting outside, it was real cloudy, and I felt weird. I felt tingly, and the hairs on my arms started to raise, and then it was just.
SpaghettiOs.
No, but you know what's crazy? There was this dude that got struck like 6 times by lightning throughout his life.
Oh yeah.
And then when he died, lightning struck his grave. Like, that's crazy, bro. It's crazy how shit just happens like that.
God.
Or like any other crazy scenario you
There
can
are
think
people
of.
living in Wisconsin and shit.
Dude, supposedly.
I don't
if you buy into that.
That's to proclaim that would be to state that Wisconsin exists in the first place.
That's
okay?
controversial.
That is, yeah. I don't want to get political here, man.
I lean more towards the religious side. I don't know if it's really.
I posted a meme once where it was like the fucking screenshot from Megamind, and it was like, there is no hero, there is no villain. It's like, and there is no Wisconsin. And someone commented, they were like, dude, I used to live in Wisconsin. What's wrong with you? And I was like,
Are you offended?
are you offended that I said Wisconsin doesn't exist? They're like, yeah, it does. I live there. Stop saying Wisconsin isn't real. I know it is real.
I fucking love the one where it's like, there is no Easter Bunny, there is no fucking
That's what it
Tooth
is.
Fairy, and there's no Queen of England.
There's no Queen of
There's
England.
no
Yeah, I love
Queen of
that one.
England.
She's not fucking real.
Oh, that's just from the movie, actually. That's not actually like a meme.
I think,
That's
yeah,
actually
he
from the
said,
movie?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And there is no Queen of England.
God,
What?
that Megamind is. I don't think people give it enough credit.
I need to
Megamind is
rewatch it. I need
is
to rewatch it.
incredible.
Actually, I don't think I've ever watched it to completion, just from beginning to end.
Megamind is one of my favorite animated films of all time. There's like Megamind, Isle of Dogs.
Nice.
I Love Dogs
fucking-
is good.
Isle of
It's a great
Dogs is
movie.
incredible. Like, Spider-Verse. I love Into the
nice.
Spider-Verse. That was a good movie.
What about hentais? Like which
Oh,
ones?
I mean,
Captain Charles Button?
Bible Black?
I don't know the names.
You don't.
They're all
Please.
Japanese.
They're all Japanese. I can't read Japanese. Nah, I see that.
I just read picture books on like Japanese fishermen, like the whaling boats, and it's just they're
Right.
just wearing big like gray rubber overalls, and that's all I need, man.
That's all you need.
Yeah. And they got like the harpoons and shit, and I'm just like,
And like they legalize it, like in Japan, which is barbaric. You know. Yeah.
That's what?
Yeah. It's legal.
weed. No.
Legalize what?
Whaling.
Oh.
You know that's just legal over there.
They're just like, I, cool. Alright, fine, man.
It's like, can we kill whale? Yes. It's like, sure. Knock yourself out, kid.
I forget which teacher showed me the documentary of like those people that will go like undercover in restaurants that are like supposedly selling whale and like catch them and like get them like shut down and shit.
Really?
God, it's amazing. Like to see like feeling that nerve when they're sitting there and they're like trying to like get the waiter to be like, they're like, I don't know, I heard you guys are serving something like very rare and hard to get, and they have to like act cool about it and actually get invited to the back to talk with the chef about it and get him to admit it out loud because they have a wire. Like, that sounds so thrilling, dude, sitting there with a wire waiting for someone to like say they broke. Like that, I'm sorry, whaling is like on another league. That's like just despicable, that type of shit. You know, I think so, just because they're mammals. Like, I mean, mammals,
we eat mammals.
We eat mammals, but not as it's the way they're killed, because they don't die immediately. They're brought up. They're like it's just a very long bleeding everywhere. Dolphins and whales are different. I feel like because of the process that it takes to kill one, it's wrong, and because of how endangered they are. I'm sorry, like if there's any endangered species, I don't feel right. Like
absolutely not. Like, I would eat like almost anything. Like fuck it, I would try dog if it was like humanely and shit, and not some like Chinese. Gutter oil backyard bullshit.
In 20 years, when Daniel's trying to make a career of himself, it's like, I would eat dog, and then that's
I would eat a dog.
a smear ad on fucking
then it's like, yeah, but it's like, I mean, I'm not trying to do it, but if it was like in a restaurant and shit, and they had some sort of crazy option like that, fuck it, why not try it?
Yeah.
But it's like, if it's endangered, like, that's just fucked up. You don't do that. You don't eat rhinos or tigers or none of that. They're endangered, bro. Like, you would literally fuck up an entire species just like to what? Just
For mouth pleasure?
exactly
So
for mouth pleasure.
So you're like, this meat feels different than the meat I'm used to. Like, that's it.
Damn, when are some new animals coming out?
Bro, when are some new animals coming out? I'm
When's
getting
God
tired of
gonna
this
release
pork
some new
shit.
animals?
I'm honestly thinking of switching to this, not vegetarian. It's called I think Mafism, MAFISM. It's basically just not eating mammals. So it's like you can still have chicken, turkey, that kind of stuff.
Red meat?
No red meat. Basically pork, beef, and lamb, and that kind of stuff is out of the picture. But I still get to keep a majority of my diet, and studies have shown that switching to that is a lot easier than switching to vegetarianism, and has almost the same exact level of health benefits, because chicken and turkey and poultry and fish, they're very lean,
Fish
healthier
ain't meat.
meats. Fish ain't meat. They're very lean and healthier for you. They don't have the bad cholesterol that
See,
pork and
That's what I hear
beef
about
has.
the Japanese diet is because
Yeah.
they fucking eat plants and fish pretty much, and
But also,
very
I
low
really
red
like beef. I don't know if I can give that shit up. I fucking
Dude,
love
it's not
steak.
bad. Red meat, sure, technically in the long terms, overconsumption, it has problems. It has carcinogens. You gain weight, etc., etc. But it's fucking. Oh
Tastes
my God, what do
good.
you call it? No, when you fuck. What's the word?
What?
When you
Moderation?
organize it, moderate it. Yes.
Yeah,
When you moderate it, it's not bad for you.
it is a
The
good
trick
source of
is,
protein and all that.
Especially if you're trying to lose weight or gain muscle, you're trying to bulk up, it's good to actually eat several different kinds of protein throughout the week. So instead of just only drinking protein shakes or only eating red meat every single day, maybe try red meat, fish, chicken,
Beans and
etc.
rice.
Beans and rice, different proteins,
Come.
and then just and then I hear that's really good for you
Yeah.
too. Just as if you can cut out red meat even a little bit, it's just better for you. But at the same time, I don't think it's that evil. People that say oh, I switched to a vegan diet, I cut out all meat, and I feel great, and I look great, etc. It's yeah, but people say the same thing about the carnivore diet too. That's anecdotal.
I feel like it's all just personal preference. If you I'm sorry, I could not be vegan. I don't like that type of food. It's okay. Vegan cheese is all right, but I feel like you have to like that. You have to already be a fan of that type of food,
Mm-hmm.
I just think I might honestly just do it for a few years. I might not do it at all. It's something I've been looking into just because I feel like I don't want to. I can't just cut out all meat.
Right.
I need that shit. I've taken a metabolic test or something. I'm supposed to have high protein and fat and very low carbs, which
And sugar.
sugar
kills.
Sugar kills. Sugar and carbs. I'm supposed to just have basically just meat, basically
Well, that's what
not
the
just
carnivore diet is.
that's what the carnivore diet is. Yeah.
I hear it's good. I mean, I've heard it's good. Especially for short term. I heard it's
You're
good.
gonna say especially for short people. Fuck,
No,
man.
they go big and strong.
Make you guys become big boys finally. No.
It's for manlets and incels, nah. But I heard it's good for a short term thing, and I also hear keto is good for short term too.
I could never do keto. I'm sorry. That's
I mean, it helped Noah, right?
it helped Noah, but I mean, I guess
just
technically
built
the
it,
carnivore diet is technically keto because it doesn't have carbs in it, carbs and sugar.
Well, keto is actually very specific because
Mm-hmm.
the goal of keto is to enter a state of ketosis where your body is using nutrients by burning fat, or something like that.
According to Martin Cabello, you see live frogs.
Oh, Martin Cabello! I love
Yeah,
Martin
shit.
Cabello. Have you seen that? He's hi. He's Martin.
Oh, you do
Cabello
that face
here.
really
Yeah.
well to
Hi, yeah, Martin Cabello here.
Oh, shit, hold up.
Everybody wants to be like Baby Yoda, right?
Damn.
So,
God, that was a killer
You gotta
facial
do it.
expression. Damn.
I didn't switch.
that's fine. Hold on, that's it. Yeah, Martin Cabello's hello. What he said? Hi. So everybody wants to be like Baby Yoda, right? Okay, so here I have a frog, and the motherfucker just eats. He's like, it's a good frog. Anyway, my friend blew himself up, and his whole family. He just says the weirdest shit.
People
And he's
ask me
crazy.
why I hate the U.S. military, and let's he just that's his sentences.
Well,
he lead
people
on.
ask me, it's cocaine. He's like, nope, just flour. People ask me why I hate the U.S. military.
Yes.
It's because they made my friend blow himself up and kill his whole family. And it's just like...
Oh, that one where he's playing with the toy trucks is like, vroom, 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 vroom. People ask me why my friend John blew him and his kids up. And it's just like...
It's like my friend John blew himself up. And
I can't believe you did this. I cannot believe you committed suicide.
How could you have done
How could you have done this, Jim? How could you commit suicide?
I fucking love
God.
Neil Breen, dude. Have you seen any Neil Breen movies?
No, what is that?
They're like, it's like,
Hold on, I'll pull up a trailer.
they're movies that are so bad that they're good, and they're just hella fucking funny to watch. Like, how to fucking when it's 2 a.m. and you're hella delirious, it's just funny to
I
put.
think that shit might be frozen.
Shit.
There we go.
Oh,
Oh, it's just the main camera. It don't like me. It's like, fuck this guy. I don't want to see anymore.
Stuff like that or what?
I guess so, but I mean, we'll just leave it like that because you're still in the frame.
Neil Breen trailer. Here, should I show him the double down one or the twisted pair one?
Fateful Findings. Show him a scene from
Fateful Findings. Okay, this is the trailer for Fateful Findings.
This is a Neil Breen?
Neil Breen film. He's a real estate agent in Vegas.
I was given paranormal powers as a child. I've hacked into just about all the information I need. They have no idea. No more books!
You were given a power.
Others want to take this from me.
He's writing about government secrets.
I knew I loved you when I was 8 years old. All this time, I haven't been working on my next book. I've hacked into the most secret government and corporate secrets. I'm using it to make a real difference. And I'm going to expose them all.
I just love that none of the plots ever actually
Should
get
I
like...
be afraid? Should we be afraid? I'm not ready for this! I want to be honest with all of you. I've been hacking into government and corporate systems all over.
He shows the ending of the movie.
Get yourself killed.
But you should be scared, because it is the truth.
That box never
Act
makes another
now.
appearance in the movie.
On your own. Outside of the corporate systems and these incompetent politicians. You want to get out of here, but you can't see what's about to happen.
So one of his powers is
What the hell is...
he can teleport,
Yeah.
and it's shown once. It's like his girlfriend gets like locked up in a trailer, and he teleports in, and that's when he was like, "You can't see what's about to happen," and he teleports out, and that power is never used in the rest of the movie.
And that's a whole ass movie.
I
That's
love
a
that
whole
scene
ass
where, like-
movie, like a feature film.
I love that scene where like he exposes everyone, and they're like all in like the fucking press like event, and he's like, "I resign today as president of the bank."
Yeah. I resign as your congressman and representative. God, it's...
That's crazy. I'm gonna have to watch that shit.
And he has like 4 or 5 movies.
Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
What year is that?
2015, I think.
Really?
I think he has like one in 2012, I think one in 2015, and I think Fateful Findings was 2018.
Really?
Fateful Findings, or no, not Fateful Findings, sorry. Twisted Pair.
Yeah.
Twisted Pair. Sorry, I got my Neil Breen. I think Fateful Findings was the 2014 one, and 2012 was like...
Bro, that shit
Double
literally...
Double Down, yeah.
That shit literally looks like The Room.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
it
the
looks
new
like
room.
The Room, yeah.
But there's a scene where, like, I'm sorry I'm going to spoil it. This is literally a plot that's put in there for no reason. Like, these friends are introduced, and, like, 20 minutes later, they're over for dinner. And there's, like, a gunshot, and his friend is laying dead next to a Ferrari, holding the gun. And he's just sitting there for, like, a solid 45 seconds going, Jim! Jim! I cannot believe you killed yourself. How could you have done this? How could you have killed yourself? I cannot believe you did this, Jim. How could you have killed yourself, Jim? And it's just that.
That's like The Room. That's
yeah,
exactly
it is
like The
very,
Room.
very much so. I've never seen The Room, but
Lisa, why you do this to me?
I still need to see that shit.
You haven't seen The Room?
No.
I haven't seen it either.
I just know that scene. But yeah, it's and then he's releasing like a very, very long, like a multiple hour long documentary on his behind the scenes process.
Damn.
I think Blazin told us about it.
Get into the mind of Neil Breen.
Get into the mind and the creative.
It's just gonna be like in the episode of SpongeBob where Squidward is like alone in the void. He's like, hello, hello, hello. Or what to say? It's like
Alone,
Alone.
alone, alone, alone.
Then it's
Alone,
Alone,
alone, alone, alone,
Alone.
alone, alone,
Oh shit. It's like,
alone,
Alone. Alone.
alone.
And it gets smaller and smaller.
That's his bad.
I gotta get out of here.
That episode fucked
I
me
watched
up, dude.
That's trippy, bro.
It was trippy, and like when he was in the future, and everything was like, it was just like so like cold, and like he was genuinely miserable there.
Yeah.
God, I miss when shows would actually put characters in genuine misery. That sounds really messed up, but like I don't know, something else about it.
There's just something creative about Stefan Hillenberg's work on SpongeBob.
Well, because he was like an actual marine biologist, right?
Mm-hmm.
That too, and just like the jokes that he would have, like
Right.
like when Patrick. I don't even know if it was. Never mind.
What?
I was gonna say like in that episode of SpongeBob where he's like, where Patrick is like, the inner machinations of my mind are an enigma, and the milk just looking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
love
if
that
was
kind of
him,
humor.
but,
That'll or he rips himself open and there's like a gorilla in him,
Mhm.
and then the gorilla's like riding on a zebra. That shit's trippy, bro.
I love when he would do the fucking close-up shots of someone's like grossly grotesque
Yeah.
face, like covered in like pimples and dripping and shit. Oh my god.
That was. I think he borrowed that from Ren and Stimpy.
I think so, but it was still like,
But I don't fuck
Incredible
with Ren and
needed it.
Stimpy. That shit's weird. And also the creator's a pedo. But
oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, low key he is. You gotta look at it closely. Look at it closely.
So,
No, but
Nicki Minaj, huh?
what about her?
Boom, ba-dum, boom, boom, ba-dum, boom, boom.
Can't you hear that boom, boom, boom?
Boom, ba-dum, boom,
I
baby.
love that new
The
song, Super Bass. I don't know why Ben Shapiro hates it so much. It's just
Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj.
Guys, who am I? Let's go to the beach.
That's how she gets halfway through the song.
Nicki Minaj. God, you guys remember, what was that dude? I can't remember what he looked like, but his memes were like, I don't even think they were memes. I think he was like, I'm gonna have such a hot bod for all the babes on the beach. I think he was like always flexing in a mirror.
Oh, the dude with like the gap in his teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Remember you were like,
All the
Maybe.
hot babes chasing me on the beach. We're gonna be on the
and he has like a
beach.
big gap in his
I
teeth.
can't
right?
remember what he
The
looks
British
like,
dude?
but it sounds familiar.
Was-
Don't
was-
say, oh, aliens
was he Asian?
everywhere, pew pew pew, or something like that. No, it was like British or some shit, right? The guy with the big ass gap in his teeth.
That sounds pretty British.
He has fucked up teeth. You know, he's racist. Their food is terrible. British.
Yeah.
I don't know about this.
Well, now she's
but
showing me
once-
fucking pictures of girls at the beach because I was typing. Oh no, because I just typed in. We're gonna go to the beach.
Wi-Fi.
We're gonna be on the beach. I still remember. Did I have to tell you about the time Chase got like my only official strike on like my record in high school because he sent me a link to like play a game and the fucking subject
Mhm.
he wrote "Let's pray, faggot," and then they called me in and they printed it out and they were like, "What's this?" And I was telling them, I was like, "It says at the top of the page sent by his email," and they were like, "Quit trying to get out of it, dude." And then I was like, "Chase, tell them," and he just sat there and he just like backed away and I was like, "You son of a bitch, no." And he was like, "My mom was gonna get angry at me," and I was like, "You think my dad's not gonna be fucking angry at me?"
Yeah.
God,
That's
I
so
was
fucking dumb, bro.
like, I could see in his eyes he was making that decision. He was like, I could do what's right and like take credit for it, but I also have a free ticket out of this. And I was like, oh god,
Man. That's just That's just you don't fuck with people like that.
You learn about what people are really like in their final moments. You know.
Nobody ever cares. No, have you seen what it's like out there, Murray?
No one is civil
anymore.
If it was me that wrote that email, you would just walk right over me.
But because it was... They had me fucking pull out the dictionary and flip to the word faggot, and they were like, what's the definition there? And I was like,
it's a
bundle of sticks. And they were like, so tell me, was Mr. Diedrich a bundle of sticks?
Oh
and I was like,
sure
acting like a bundle of sticks. God, that would have been so good. Literally, they had it printed out, and it said sent by, and it had, like, Chase's personal email. Just because it showed up in my account, they were like, you typed this. And I was like, dude, it says, oh my god.
You should have been like, keep tracing that email, I bet you'll find more shit.
Probably.
No, but that's fucking sucks, bro.
Yeah, fuck that guy. They actually ended up, like, I'm very, like, I can fucking be a bootlicker when I need to. That sounds messed up, but, like,
that's
I knew how to, I ended up acting my way out of it. They didn't even, like, call my parents or anything, and I think they didn't even mark it down on my, I don't think they marked it down on my record. I didn't ever get to see it, but they were, like, very, like, forgiving of it because I was just so fucking nice about it. Well, I technically got away with saying faggot in high school because I was nice to the teachers. But, yeah, fuck that guy. Chase, if you're watching this.
Damn.
That's the wrong camera.
Chase, if you're watching this.
Damn, that's bars.
Was I rapping?
You were doing that common style of rapping where like you're like spoken word.
Hobo Johnson.
Like,
Chase,
so
you got me in trouble at school.
You got me in trouble, and there's this girl that like, but you got me in trouble.
She was in the office, sitting across from me, and she heard them say that I used that slur, and she never looked at me again. You're like, fuck, dude.
14-year-old white girls are like, this is real music.
This is real. I will say I do partake in the listening of some of his music. Some of it's okay.
Why would you just choose to make that decision about yourself?
Okay, says the 100 Gex fan.
Says the 100 Gex fan.
You like 100 Gex too, bitch.
I do. You know, but I still will admit that it's cringy to like them.
Okay, yeah.
The same thing with Hobo Johnson. It's like it's very cringy to like that music.
Why would you just choose to make that decision?
From a musician's standpoint,
it's gay.
The fact that from a musician's standpoint, he was fucking homeless in his car and like ended up he actually started from the bottom and got big. And I like saw him in concert before he got like super big. I don't like his most recent album, but like in his first album, some of the songs, like he has a whole song written to labels, and he was like talking about how much independent artists actually work and how labels kind of just look over them. And I was like, you know what? Like, that's fucking cool. It's
like Immortal Technique definitely didn't do that 15 years ago. Not fucking with you. I mean, I can't get into Hobo Johnson because to me it seems a bit like I understand where he's coming from and I understand that point of view. Like for sure, I completely understand that perspective. But then you listen to his music and it just sounds like pretentious, like kind of like I'm 14 and this is deep kind of thing.
The artist that gives off that vibe to me is Watsky. I hate Watsky. God, seriously. Cold pizza, tie-dye shirts. Okay, we get it, man.
Everybody's on their phones. They don't pay attention to people anymore.
Nobody's civil anymore.
I just really like how sad Hobo Johnson's music is. I can appreciate like a really fucking good, sad song and Romeo and Juliet talking about like real, like. Some of the like, it's just very raw and real, and like the sort of vocals he does. It is spoken word poetry.
I mean poetry.
It's a spoken words, but the fucking like style is conveyed. It just feels very like
gay,
real,
and also gay and real. I don't know.
Hobo Johnson saved my life, bro.
We were both hobos together, you know. Like, just
and he was like, "Hey, I'll be Hobo Johnson, and you'll be Hobo other Johnson, and we'll be Hobo Johnson and Johnson."
Exactly, that's what I was.
I'll be Hobo Johnson, you'll be Hobo Flanson.
But then
And
he
we'll
left.
Hobo and Johnson.
And I was like, well, fuck you, man. Hobo Johnson's a more catchy musician name, and it turned out I was right. But
then he stepped all over me when they offered him a record deal and not me. So there was no more Hobo Johnson and Johnson. There was only
Hobo Johnson.
He left me in the lurch.
And he left me Johnson. No one wants to listen to a musician just named Johnson.
Like,
That's fucking boring.
That died out with Hanson.
I mean, maybe if I was like some weird Swedish band and there was 2 dots over the O in Johnson.
Johnson?
Johnson?
So then all the art hosts are like, wow, this is good. You don't listen to foreign music? You don't listen to Johnson?
You guys want to go order some Travi Patties after this shit?
Dude, I'm fucking starving.
You guys want to get Travis Scott meals at McDonald's?
I don't know if I'm gonna get that, but yeah, I'm fucking hungry.
Can I just get a Big Mac?
Hamburger. Nah.
Cheeseburger, Big Mac, whoop.
Alright. So I have a question for you, Stefan. It's not really a question, it's more like a topic, but like
okay.
I see on your Instagram like you're like super into like the woke stuff or like the political stuff going on nowadays. At least like it definitely was before when you had like the other profile picture and stuff. So I was like, I don't know, I was wondered about that because you don't really give off those vibes at all.
I don't give off those vibes. Honestly, the main reason I post a lot is because I do, like, a lot of the information is new information to me. Mm-hmm. And it is very powerful, and I think it's really cool to be living through another, like, very, very, very critical period of time, you know?
Right. It's tumultuous times.
Like,
tumultuous times.
Whether
it's like
whether you're on one side or another, or agree or disagree, these are tumultuous times.
Yeah, and like, even if I might disagree with some people, I feel like posting what I feel is like relevant information. I do take, like, if they're a poster or like I'll post something and someone, I think I posted something and someone messaged me and they were like, oh, that turned out to be fake. I'll go back and I'll delete it. If someone told me like that turned out to be fake, that turned out to not be real, it's not like entirely true, I'll go back and delete it because I don't want to misinform anybody. But my main, I do understand what I post is 100% biased. Mm-hmm. I will say I'm not posting from both sides, from both perspectives, because I do lean towards one side. Nowhere near as much as I did in high school. In high school, I think I was honestly just making stuff up to seem like... Dude,
I feel you on that.
Like I've definitely, I hate to say it, I've gotten a little more towards the center. I'm honestly, I think the party I'm registered to now is called the Peace and Freedom Party because it is...
Just be Democrat. Just actually make a difference.
I cannot, in my heart, support the Democratic Party.
Not when they've screwed Yang and everyone and put Biden as the candidate.
2 years in a row, they were caught sabotaging Sanders' campaigns in the Iowa caucus. Caucus. It just... And I do know, honestly, another thing about posting that is, like, I feel like it does root out the people that aren't willing to, like, have a conversation. Like, I know you don't see that and then automatically unfollow and block me, right. You know? And if you do send me something, like if I post something and you're like, you send me, like, something that's, like, the other side and you're like, this isn't the full story or this isn't, like, how things went down, I'll give that, like, I will actually give that thought. I'm not going to be ignorant about it. It's just, I do think it is a very, like, important and critical. We're living through what seems to be another civil rights movement.
See, I disagree with that. I disagree with that completely. But not in a way where it's like, no,
fuck you, you're wrong.
Fucking hate you.
Everybody
I
perceives it differently.
That sentiment, because I mean, I have my own opinions when it comes to like everything that's going on. Well, the thing with me is like, I'll just say it. I lean left. You know, I lean left, you know, liberal, whatever. But the thing is, I also have, like, a lot of opinions that are, like, 100% right, you know? So it's like, I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be that dude who's like, I'm a centrist, you know, I stay in the center, you know? I grill, you know, I'm a centrist. Because to me, that's lazy. Like, people that just call themselves centrist or, like, I have centrist views, that's just lazy to me. Like, it's impossible to be centrist. You either lean one way or another.
Yeah.
And it's like... And if you have centrist views on things, that's one thing. But like, you can't be a centrist. It's not plausible. It's not feasible. But like, for me, I disagree with a lot of stuff that's going on, or at least I disagree with a lot of the narratives that the media is putting out. You know. Yeah. So like, I'll inform. I'll post memes about it. I'll just do everything. But the thing with me is like, I learned to just kind of lay off a bit. You know, like. Yeah. For me, it's kind of like just
let the conversation happen, agree with this, disagree with that, etc. And then if you want to talk about it, if you want to comment on it, sure. But I'm done with the days of just being a keyboard warrior. This is why you're wrong. This is why Yang is better. No. But like for me, with a lot of the stuff that's going on, I don't fully support it. Like I don't, and it's not from like a racial view at all. Like it's just for me, it's all about narratives, and it's about just like the circumstances with every every incident that happens, or like an entire take on it. But like, I mean, I'll listen to whatever. For me, what's important is just the facts of it all, the facts and like what actually happened.
Like I said, if I ever find out that I did post something that is misinforming somebody or false information, the first thing I do is take it down, because like at the end of the day, like yes, I am posting it because I feel like I do have it's not very big, but I do have a bit of a platform, and I'm like, you know what, I'll use that to help out where I can, to do things where I can. I don't make a lot of money. I can't donate to charities I believe in, there are certain organizations and charities that I would donate to. I think there was a bookstore in Minneapolis. It was a local bookstore that was black owned as well, and they were being affected by it because like number one, the virus, and number two, everything going on in Minneapolis. So I went online and I think I ordered like a $12 like sushi cookbook or something, because I'm like, you know what, like that's something I can get behind. It's a local struggling business, and this is making things hard on them. And I think they were running like in their parking lot, they had a thing that was like, if you were out demonstrating, they had like a medical center. If anybody had like very bad medical, like if they got cuts like or if they got any injuries, they were running like a sort of like a miniature hospital. They would have like first aid kits and stuff for anybody that needed it. And I was like, you know what, that's cool. That's like, you're doing what you can as a business, like anybody that needs medical attention, because there's a lot of crazy shit going on in the city. Yeah. Like you can get it there. You don't have to worry about like paying for it and all that stuff. And they were relying on donations and purchases from out of states. And I was like, you know what, that's cool. And I would donate to more stuff like that, but I just since I can't.
It's hard too, because like the lines are constantly shifting and moving. Because it's like if you were to come into U.S. politics without knowing anything about the prior 4 years, and you're like, Antifa, anti-fascist, of course I'm against fascism, heck yeah. But then you see the videos, and then you see what they do, and then you see what it's like, and it's kind of like, I don't know if I can even get behind that. Because like, you would think you can, just off the name. But then, like, I see the videos of them hitting old people with bike locks, or just doing dumb shit and breaking businesses or destroying businesses that in the end happen to be, like, black-owned, which is, like, completely contradicting or, like, counterproductive. And it's like, I can't fuck with that. I can't get behind that, like, at all. But at the same time, it's not like you can't... It's not also like you can just ask for this super group that's going to be perfect on all platforms and appeal to everybody, too. So for me, I kind of try not to just take a following or attach myself to something like that to such an extreme, to such a point.
I feel like a lot of those people that are just being unnecessarily violent are kind of ruining the whole meaning of anti-fascism. Like like when it is local businesses being destroyed and people who weren't really involved in anything being injured and stuff like that. And I will say 90% of the time those people do end up being white people who are trying to like get behind the movement and look for...
Or you know what's bullshit? When they get bussed in from another city. That's bullshit.
And they get bussed in and it's just all these like rich white people who are like, I'm making a difference, and they're like the actual demonstrators in the streets that are like, even if there is like, I don't know. It's just, it's kind of staining the movement. The overly violent. There are some I hate saying this, but there is some property damage that I feel like was deserved. Like certain things, like honestly, fuck Target. I thought it was funny. I was like, you know what, fuck yeah, they're a corporation. They're not going to notice that shit. If it is a local business, and like you said, a lot of local businesses ended up being black owned. I saw this one that was like this 50-year-old Mexican dude who started his own taco restaurant when in like the 1970s or something, and it got like completely massacred. And I was like, that, I feel like that is perpetrated by the people that are getting bussed in, the people that are taking advantage of this situation, taking advantage of the situation. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna break shit in the name of something. Break shit for a reason. Don't break shit just to break shit. Don't break shit because everybody else is like freaking out, and you're like, I can start this and no one's going to catch me. You know, if you I don't know, it's very, like you said, the lines are always shifting, and it's very difficult to like to know exactly if I'm like for or behind certain actions. I will say personally, like the reason I do get behind some of the property damage, like I said, is because I do think in the past it's been seen that entirely peaceful protests don't get they get attention for a couple months, but then that's it. It drops off because people are like, oh, they're still just standing out there in the streets the way they've been for the past 4 months.
Right.
And you need to get attention somehow. There are definitely people taking advantage of the situation and taking it to extremes, which do get displayed in the media as portraying the left-leaning side as like everybody's that violent person hitting an old person with a bike lock or breaking local businesses and stuff like that. And that definitely
well, that's what it becomes. And for me, the thing is that I'm against the looting and rioting because I don't think it's fair to make comparisons to other past historical events because it's really hard to do that in general because it's all circumstantial. But for me, I don't agree with it at all, and I don't condone it in any way. But at the same time, I understand revolution, I understand struggle, because it's like, I'm not gonna be out here like, oh, you know, like peace and world peace and shit. Like, no, sometimes you straight up need violence.
Yeah.
You know, like, for example, like in China with the Uyghurs or putting them in concentration camps or committing genocide, you can't be like, we need peace right now. It's like, no, we need fucking armed violent struggle at times. Like, I'm gonna say it, fine. But, like, just for me in these circumstances, in these cases, I don't see it. Like, I don't see, like, how it justifies the ends or the means. And it's like, I don't condone it because I don't think it's a form of protest. Like, it's just destruction. And it's like, if the destruction is for something, if it's a good cause, like, fine. But at the same time, it's all really, it's just, the whole thing is murky. Like, every single aspect about everything that's been going on since June is really murky. And so that's why I say, you know, it's hard to get attached to something. It's hard to follow something. But for me, I'm against it, and I'm not super supportive of Black Lives Matter as an organization. Like, obviously, yes, Black Lives Matter. But, like, as a group, as an organization, I don't really follow it. I don't get behind it. Because it's a really loose coalition.
Yeah.
And I understand the message, and I understand the need for reform, and the need and the interpretation of it. I also don't believe in telling black people or any oppressed people how or when they can protest, because, like, you're not in charge of that. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But, like, for me, like, I can't get behind it because it's like, oh, like, you got to donate to Black Lives Matter, but it's like, okay, where's this money going to? You know, like, it's a group, but, like, where's it going to? Like, what are they done with it? You know?
Yeah.
And also just for other reasons, I don't really get behind a lot of the things. But for me, what matters first is just the truth and the facts of it. So, I don't know, it's just weird times. We're just going to have to see where it goes with it.
I will say there is definitely a lot of issues with misinformation from both sides.
Absolutely.
Coming out. So I do get that it is, like you said, there are a lot of situations that do seem murky because there's not a lot of details on things. I think at the end of the day, like, there is a very thin line on which side you fall on, and it does all come down to basic political beliefs. You know, like I said, the party I'm registered to is classified as a socialist party, and so I do lean, which is also weird because they're the ideology that I believe with, that I connect with the most, but they're not entirely socialist because socialism also includes big government, and there are also a lot of government, like, there's a lot of government spending that I'm completely against. You know, military, police. Recently, I feel like lower funding and more education.
No.
Honestly, the biggest thing is more education. The reason I say lower funding is just because you can still run a very high caliber operation with a fraction of the funds we're given.
See, but that's a problem, though. Is that you say that sentence, you can a large caliber operation with less funding, and that's simply like it's not always the case. For me, I'm 100% for police reform. I'm 100% for more training,
more education, more understanding, more de-escalation, more
Yes.
departments. So like the one cop doesn't have to do 50 jobs. I'm for domestic violence groups and mental health episode groups.
Things
I
that don't
think-
need an armed officer
Exactly.
to show up.
I'm
yeah.
for that. I'm not for defunding because to me, when you defund something, what happens? It becomes shittier. You cut more corners. You hire more people that are less qualified, and then just more in general, you have just a shittier result. So I'm not for defunding, but I am for reforming and also for reappropriating in terms of like the money. Like instead of like the high tech rifles and gear and shit, maybe like more training or better tactics
And that could honestly end up being like a little Venn diagram with
right.
with both. I try to do that shit with my hands because if you're saying like have another department focus specifically on like a domestic abuse line and have certain funds reallocated to that department, that is in a way taking funding away from the police themselves and putting it into a community service that does that. It's just doing it in a different way. It's just keeping that community service as a part of the same general organization.
Right, but it's not necessarily defunding.
It's not necessarily defunding.
It's
It's
away. It's
splitting it up.
reallocating.
It is technically reallocating to a different department, which is like so. I think there are a lot more connections in like both sides' end results because like when you think about it like that, it's just one side wants them to be separate from the government and the police department, and one side thinks that they should be included in that. So it is not, like you said, it's not
Right.
defunding; it's reallocating to different departments.
See, I'm all for that. And then also, like, and it's just like, for every situation for me is murky. Like, in one example, I'll say, like, the Jacob Blake case. Because, like, you hear the headline, black father shot in the back 7 times, and you think, like, that's horrible. Like, it's fucking horrible. But then you look into the details and you look into what happened, and it's like, okay, like, maybe, like, more or less it's justified now. And then, like, that's the thing. As details come out, as, circumstances change, like, everything else changes. And it's like, for me, the Jacob Blake case, like, I don't have any stake in it. My heart isn't in it. I'm not, like, passionate about it or some shit. But, like, for me, I kind of see it as justified. And, like, I don't know if, like, all the riots and everything was exactly, like, necessary for that, like, and I don't know if racism is entirely involved. Like, I think it's more of a police issue than it is a racism issue.
I think it's a combination of both issues because there's a large population or a large percentage of police officers that are actively involved in organizations like the Ku Klux Klan. That's been discovered. That's been proven before. So there is definitely race played into it, and a lot of that's why a lot of the cases that I've actually read about with everything that's been going on, there have been quite a few where the officer was actually punished for acting or behaving incorrectly. They're just the number of cases where corruption is present outweighs the number of cases where there isn't. The number of cases where it's unjustified. I honestly personally don't believe any of the recent ones have been fully justified, just because there have been situations where people posing more of a threat have been captured alive. And I do understand it is very dependent on the situation if they have an opportunity to capture them alive. But things like the Jacob Blake case, like I said, more information comes out. I might not know everything, but from what I've seen, even if it looked like he was going to get a weapon from his vehicle, he was not involved in what the call was for. The call was for 2 completely separate people. Even if he was talking to them or trying to involve himself, the call was for those 2 women, not for him.
That's what I heard. But here's also what I heard is he actually had an active warrant out for his arrest. So like once the cops start looking into it and they say, oh, he has a warrant out for his arrest, they start talking to him. And this is just from what I saw, just from the videos. So like they were talking to him, he wasn't complying. They already had their guns out, and like I think they were trying to get him on the ground. And he stood up. He fought back actually against the cops. And then once he stood up and fought back and they had their guns pointed at him, he started walking around towards the inside of his vehicle. They kept trying to stop him. They were pulling on his shirt, but he kept going forward, opened his car door, started reaching inside. And it's like, I'm not saying he deserves to get shot, but it's like at the same time, it's like when those are the circumstances, like that's kind of what happens, unfortunately, but like that's how it is. Like when cops are like arresting you or if they have guns pointed at you, as unfair as it is, you just gotta comply, you just gotta do it, and then you can fight it in court.
But it's like, if you have guns on you, like, your first instinct shouldn't be to, like, fight off the officers and then go walk around and start reaching inside your car.
But also another issue that I think is there are many non-lethal options that could very easily take down, like, a personal case that I don't really want to get into. There was somebody that I knew that had committed several crimes, including stealing and leading the police on a pursuit in a stolen CHP cruiser, and then brandishing a knife that he had taken from inside of the cruiser at the officers, and they took him down with beanbag rounds. You know, but then there was that, like, that dude that was sleeping in the Wendy's. Yeah, he grabbed the officer's taser, but the other officer also had a taser, and a taser is gonna tase you. You know, he can only shoot one of them, and then he's out of ammunition. I get that would be a loss, but there's just so many more steps that you could take before it should come to firing deadly ammunition.
See, but with the Rayshard Brooks case, I was also looking into that, and honestly, like, low-key, I think it was kind of justified, because they were completely, like, the cops were doing their jobs just fine all the way until he resisted and got violent. Because, like, so the thing with the Rayshard Brooks case is, like, he was drunk. He was drunk as fuck. He was passed out in his car from being drunk at the Wendy's. And when you're passed out drunk in your car, like, that's just against the law, because they're gonna assume you're gonna drive. If your keys are actually in the car, that is, they can assume that you're gonna drive. But anyway, they take him out and they're talking to him for like 40 minutes, almost an hour. They're trying to talk to him, trying to get information. They say, "Okay, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to place you under arrest." They start to place him under arrest, and then he escapes. He fights back. He gets the officers on the ground at one point. You know, like, he's punching them. He fights back. He takes one of their tasers and he starts running. And halfway while he's running, he points it back at them. And it's like, obviously, like, it would have been much better if they just tased him back, or if they got a beanbag round or pepper spray or whatever non-lethal weapons they have. But the thing is, at the heat of the moment, like, your buddy's out, they stole his taser, the guy's running and he's pointing it at you, like, your first instinct is just going to be to go for your gun, because in the heat of the moment, unfortunately, you don't think clearly. Like, when things are just super intense like that, like, your first instinct isn't like, okay, let's take a breath, let's figure out what to do. Like you either act or you could die.
See, that's the thing, though, is I feel like there should have been a reason. They should have been trained to resist that heat of the moment and be able to think clearly like that. I understand in the heat of the moment you're not thinking entirely clearly and you can make mistakes like that, but if you're having such a high power job carrying a deadly weapon on you constantly, I feel like you need to be somebody who can think clearly in a situation like that. And at the end of the day, the deadline is that there are very few things that I think justify anybody being killed. I think maybe murder, pedophilia, rape, that kind of stuff. Those three are like the three worst, most heinous crimes that I can think of. There are probably more. And but aside from those, I don't think any crime, no matter, there are very few crimes that I think are worth. I don't want to say I don't think any crime. I should say there are very few crimes that I think are worth or that justify anybody's death. And like you said, there are moments like the heat of the moment. There are a lot of changes in conditions, and like the situations are different every single time. There's no way to prepare for exactly one specific situation because you never know exactly what's going to go down. I honestly feel like it is much easier to have officers who are more prepared for situations like that. And like you said, more training. That is something you wanted to. And so for that reason, I don't believe it's justified, just because I don't think that officer was in the correct headspace to make a decision to be judge, jury, executioner like that. You know, like it doesn't seem right to me. And then seeing things like that happen, I don't know personally what happened with the officers involved in that case, but seeing things like that happen, like I can't remember her name, the little girl that was shot while they were filming an episode of Cops. The guy they were looking for was upstairs. The stories of like the original story conflicted with the story that was told in court, and they asked for the footage from the people who filmed it, and they refused and destroyed the footage.
The cops,
not the cops, the people filming the show, the show cops. They destroyed the footage so that there was no like. From what I've heard, like I said, this is all things that I've read in articles that I believe to be trustworthy. They destroyed the footage. The stories weren't coinciding. It was there was no excuse for that girl to be hit. And from what I've still read, I don't know if I'm getting confused with another story, because there was such a lack of evidence, the case was dismissed.
Yeah,
and it was a
happens.
9-year-old girl that was shot. You know, like it's inexcusable. And like I know I'm really not good with names. The lady who was shot,
Breonna Taylor.
Not Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor as well. But the one who was shot playing video games with her nephew.
Oh,
When the
I
officer
know
came up to
who
the
she
window.
is. I know who she is.
He was actually, like, if you look into that, he was actually, like, punished for that. But it just, the number of times that it's actually resulted in just punishment, it's all about ratios to me. The ratio of, like, times that they've gotten away with it, or times where they've gotten, like, very minimal sentences and pleas, compared to the times where things actually ended up okay. It's just so off balance that if I feel like I do have to take a side in this, because I don't want to be the centrist guy. I don't want to be the guy that's like, I don't want to take sides. If I do have to take a side, I do lean more towards those sides, towards being against our current police state and not police state, our current the state of our current police system.
Oh, there you go.
I should say. And what I was going to say is also, because, like I said, the line is so thin, it just does come down to basic political beliefs. I don't think a lot of there are no, don't get me wrong, they're extremists, like the people that say people should go mow down everybody in the protests.
Right.
And then there are the extremists that say, like, on the other side, like that every single, like, police station should burn. You know,
Right.
they're extremists on either side, but I think when it comes down to it, the two sides are a lot more. A good way, Mr. Drain, who you were talking about earlier, described it best. He said the political spectrum is not a straight line; it's a horseshoe.
Mhm.
So the two ends
Are both gay.
Pretty much.
the two
Essentially,
ends are
yeah.
a lot closer to each other than these little fuckers up here. I don't know how to
moderates.
describe it. The moderates.
Yeah.
So the two, like I said, this isn't exactly that case, because I realize the extremists are actually very far apart. But a lot of times in when it comes to political issues and stuff like that, people's sides do tend to be a lot more overlapping than they think. And I do think it just comes down to basic political beliefs. Because of my political beliefs, because of my set of morals, my own personal opinions on everything, I do side with the Black Lives Matter movement. The organization itself, like you said, I've heard of people talking about it being shady, but I've never seen any proof of it. Like, I've never personally been able to donate to it. I think I would if I was able to. Maybe not like I would, if I donate a large amount, I would want it to go to something very clear what it was.
Right, so like if it was like for like the case, like the lawyers of like of a certain case, or like maybe
Like-
the funerals.
Like
of,
I would have donated to like bail funds and stuff like that, to people who were being taken, who were not breaking any laws, you know, like you said, case files, lawyers, and
Right.
that kind of stuff. Like there is a lawyer on Twitter that was saying, like, he'll represent anybody who had been illegally detained in the protests pro bono, and he was just taking donations. And like I said, it's that same way with that
Right.
bookstore. You know, it's like if you're providing a service, like providing a service for free, I want to support that, because I know that takes a lot to like make that decision.
Mhm.
You know, so there might be organizations that they're not what they seem. I'm not informed enough on any of that to make like a solid statement on that, but I have not seen any evidence of them doing anything necessarily negative with the
Right,
funds that have
right.
been donated to them. And like I said, I have not heard of anything specific that has been like positive that has been put towards. Like I haven't heard of any stories of those funds being put towards something, but I could have just not heard that. You know, I could look it up right now and probably figure it out, but like because I haven't looked into that, I just tend to, I don't know, it sounds weird, but I tend to think the best of those organizations. If they're charities, I tend to think like it's a charity, you know. I know there are corrupt charities. There are a lot of examples in history of charities and companies that present themselves as
Right.
nonprofit.
Wasn't like the World Wildlife Fund, wasn't that like a front for like the Taliban or some shit? I'm pretty sure it was one of those.
Something like that. But I just don't see any I don't see very much evidence that it is covering up something very shady, you know? And I've seen people saying, like, oh, the Black Lives Matter organization does support, like, socialist ideals, and because I do align with those, with that political ideology, I do tend to side with that. Like, I get there are other people that are very pro-capitalist, capitalist economy, capitalist pigs. Then that's their main reason for not associating with the Black Lives Matter organization. But being somebody who does have very socialist and fucking commie views. She talked to my fucking mom. She's like a straight up. She proclaims herself as a communist.
Jesus.
I don't think she actually gets what it means though, because she doesn't seem to. But it's okay. Love you still, Mom. I'm going to the wrong camera again. If you're ever watching this, you probably won't. I feel like I've been talking for a long time. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is political beliefs, the movements and the beliefs that organization support. I also support and align with, and so that's why I choose to side with that. And my morals, the way my personal opinions, the way I view these stories. That's why I post it. If I see that and I'm like, and it's not just one issue. Like I'll post things about like their slides, not necessarily the one you were talking about that you said might have been false information. Like field workers, where it's like talking about like the level of money that they're getting paid versus while they're having to work out there in the middle of these fires. With the smoky air and stuff like that. I don't think that was me. I posted something that was showing that they earn like about 60 cents an hour, and I think you mentioned something one night when we were hanging out. You were like, "Oh, I heard that."
Right. No, so the thing is, like, it was different. That's the one where the immigrant is holding a sign that's like, "Oh, they're paying us like $6 a day, and we work 12 hours a day." And I was like, "Yeah, like I've been seeing that shit since like 2015, though." Like, so it's like I don't know if it's relevant or if it's real. I'm not sure about the details, but all I know is like I've been seeing that shit since like 2015. It's not new.
But what I'm trying to say is that like it's not just the protest riots, police brutality that I'm posting against. I'm trying to like, if I'm going to have a platform for one specific issue, I'm going to have a platform for all the other issues like mental health awareness. LGBT rights. Those were honestly. I hate that we kind of went backwards on that, like, with a lot of the laws that Trump repealed. Like kind of fucked. But I'll post about not just one specific thing. But
I see that.
I try to keep like if I'm gonna post about one specific thing, I want to post about everything else I believe in and just put myself out there because I don't want to be one of those posers that are only posting because of what's going on right now. No, I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna put this political belief out there, I'm gonna put all my political beliefs out there.
Right.
And so it does come across as very like I said, very woke, and it's just because that's the woke left. That's the political side that I tend to lean on, and it's. I know a lot of people don't agree with it, and they'll DM me, and I'll have like civilized conversations with them. A lot of times I end up.
You, sir.
A lot of times I'm like.
You, sir.
A lot of times I end up just not replying to them because they end up stooping down to like absolute fucking butt fuck stupid levels, and I'm like, okay, you don't want to have an actual civil debate with me, then I'm just gonna ignore you. I think Chase is one of those people.
Really? I feel I don't know. He's slippery. He's like an eel. You know, like I can't catch what side he's on.
He that dude back in high school. Fucking when the whole DACA issue was going on when Trump first got elected, he said, fuck, I can't remember. I think he said something like, if a child who turned 18, if it was found out that their parent had come into the country illegally,
Right.
on paperwork, what's it called?
Visas?
With no visas,
Oh.
he believed that child should serve jail time for it.
Dude, that's fucking bullshit.
He believed I might have something off, but that was the gist of what he was trying to say. We were like, dude, that's absolutely fucked. And even if it wasn't like he supported taking away natural born rights, where if you're born in the country, you're a citizen of the country. He didn't want that shit. That's honestly the only reason I'm a citizen is because I was born in the country. My dad's only a citizen through marriage. He's been married for I think like 15 years now, and so I think after 12 years it becomes an official citizenship. He just hasn't like actually filed it.
Well, you need to apply for it and stuff.
I know you need to apply for it, but after I think after a certain amount of time married, I think it's not official citizenship, but it is basically like you just need to file out the paperwork and you're done.
Right.
Yeah, because you've been here long enough, you've adjusted to the country, you've like that dude is he's very whitewashed. So I don't think he's gonna have a problem with like.
Wait, where was he born?
He was born in Hermosillo.
Or Mexico?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, Mexico. I thought you were asking like the specific city.
Hermosillo?
Hermosillo. It's in Sonora.
Sonora, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was going to say. It's probably Sonora.
He's Sonoran. But yeah, it's funny because like I'll hear him talking to his fucking coworkers because he works at their fucking rental place down there, and he goes by Gus, and he's like, "Oh hey, I saw one of you guys brought like donuts into the break room today. Thanks to whoever brought those." And then he gets home and it's like fucking midnight, and he's grilling carne asada, and he has like a fucking he's got a lisp. He has this fucking. He has my sister make her own homemade. That was like from Spain, yeah. Her homemade fucking like my grandma's tortilla recipe, and he has this big. You know, tractors when they plow the fields, they have the big like rotating discs that are kind of concave. He cleaned that off, and that's what he has on his grill to cook all the tortillas on. It's like cast iron. It's like so cool, and he's blaring mariachi music, and he has his fucking tecates out there, and like. I'm like, where the fuck did that dude that was just here 40 minutes ago go? Like, he just completely transforms, and like, when he's talking to his boss, because a lot of his coworkers are white, but when he's talking to his boss, who is also Mexican, it's hilarious. A few times I've gone in the truck with him, I can't keep track of what they're saying because they just slip back and forth between Spanish and English so easily, and I'm like, I recognize like 3 of those words in English and like 2 of them in Spanish, but like, some of them are like halfway, and I just... Yeah,
I feel that. So is your mom from Mexico too, or
my mom's white. I'm only half.
That's what I thought because I was like,
that's why I'm really so light skinned. Like yeah, I'm very white. It's just because my dad won custody of me. I grew up in his household, so I do have a lot more of his like shit. I got his thick ass hair. That dude is like hold on, he was 26. He's 46 now, and he still has a thick head of hair. And I'm like, fuck yeah. I know those genes got passed down to me. This shit is like impenetrable.
They got passed down to me, but I feel sorry for my kid. What time is it?
Time for you to get fucking wars. No,
11.
What? Jesus Christ, dude! How long have we been recording?
I figured it'd be like 11.
2.5 hours. I thought it would be like 9.
I thought it was like an hour, man.
Bro. What?
Nah, we've been here a while.
God damn,
fuck,
dude! You want to call it a wrap?
We can't even go get a Travis Scott meal. McDonald's closed at 11.
Closed at 1 now.
Oh, closed at 1?
Yeah. Last time we went, it closed at 1.
It closed at 11. Remember, we were like the last one.
No, that was at midnight. We went at midnight.
Really? And that was on a weekday, and it's a Saturday night. Oh no, that was on a Saturday night.
We can still make it.
We can still make it. Yeah.
All right, so let's call it a wrap for now.
All right,
I'd be down to have you back. You know, you're a great
guy.
dude.
Dude, yeah,
cool.
You kept the conversation flowing. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much,
just Stefan, if you want to plug anything in.
Just my album. I'm working on new music. I'm gonna start releasing it more soon. I even have another fucking entirely different artist that I'm gonna start.
Just say your name.
My name's Stefan. Stefanovich.
Stefanovich on Spotify.
Spotify, is it on iTunes?
Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, everything. SoundCloud even.
Okay. Alright, I'll link like all the links in the
description. Just make sure to follow him. I'm dead ass. He makes good music. 100% recommend. So thank you, Stefan, for being here with